Tinfoil hat. Oh, what the fuck are you guys even talking about?
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
Welcome to Tinfoil Hat. We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Are you ready to get your mind blown?
Good morning, Swarm, and welcome to Tinfoil Hat. You know I am. You know I'm here to do. I'm here to joining me as always, Xavier Guerrero, and on the ones and twos, J Nice, Juicy Johnny, J Dog, Johnny Woodard.
Wow. I thought you had a new nickname from.
Yeah, live from the Wise Wolf Gold and Silver, the Wise Wolf pack. There we go. Just go to wisewolf.gold and get on the action. We are helping people sustain themselves during this crazy economic time, so go check it out. Very excited to be here, guys. If you want to see me live, go to SamTripoli.com, click on the events. I'm going to be in Plano, Texas, April 16th through the 20th, Eugene, Oregon on the 26th through the 27th. And then our big show is Aurora, Illinois. That's on the 4th. That's Eddie, Xavier, Leonardo, Joni is going to be joining us. And then we'll also be in Janesville, Wisconsin at the Comedy Cabin. Go grab your tickets now. Very excited to have our next guest on. He has a great YouTube channel called White Lotus of Light. Please welcome Ian Ferguson. How are you, brother?
Oh, I'm fantastic, Sam. It's amazing to be here, especially in the studio. XG, Johnny, and Sam, triple threat.
Yeah, brother.
Loving it. Looking
good, dude.
Looking
good. While the rest of us are in pajamas, you look stylish. We appreciate that. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're
very welcome.
You could make it to the studio. That's 2 shows in a row, and we're very excited about it. Ian, I love your channel. I discovered you while you were your YouTube channel, while you were doing a breakdown of the Luciferians versus the Malachians. It really resonated with me. We'll get into some of that as well. But for those who may not be familiar with I think you've been on the show twice now. This is your third. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where our listeners can find you?
Yeah, absolutely. So whitelotusoflight.com and White Lotus of Light on YouTube. The primary thing I do is nowadays I do VIP concierge astrology. So I work for a lot of high-level clients right now, just doing super deep dives on their, what is going to happen and unfold for them karmically in the near-term future. JP Morgan said, millionaires don't use astrology, billionaires do.
Yep.
And it just really blows people's minds when you say things like, I got some heavy hitters right now and they're struggling. And I told them, a few months ago, business is going to be trash until May. So don't even expect anything to close. And they're like, I close, bro. And I'm like, not this time, you won't. And so their mind's been a bit blown by that. I also do, I teach people angelic magic. So that's one of the main things I do is work with the angels to help raise the consciousness of the planet and help usher in as we move out of this Kali Yuga, which ends actually less than a year from now, March 21st, 2025. And we're going to see a real shit show later this year, guaranteed. And we're going to see massive mega giga changes, especially after next March 21st.
Well, I'm with you, buddy. And, I've been on a spiritual journey lately. And, I've come to Christianity. I love it, but I'm very much in this. I really don't get that pushback. I had a couple people on the road tell me this, so I think everybody thinks it, but an occasional I'll get a comment here, and I'm okay with it too. You can comment all you want. I appreciate you guys listening, and you're allowed to have opinions on it, and I'll hear anything you got to say. But, for me, it's I can't discount mysticism. You know, walking on water, you know, turning bread a loaf of bread and fish and feeding everybody, water to wine. All that to me is mysticism. I'm not saying I'm Jesus or anything like that, but I believe in energy manipulation, and I believe in all that stuff. And I believe it's a lot deeper than they want us to know. And I don't think asking these questions is a sign of being a bad Christian. That's just my opinion. Again, if you're at home, you're allowed to believe whatever you want. I'm totally fine with that as well. So, you know, I just want to say that I'm very much into everything you talk about. Again, the Luciferian versus Malachian thing resonates with me a lot. You know, you brought up Trump versus, let's say, Hillary Clinton. One is Malachian, Hillary Clinton. One is Luciferian, Donald Trump. We might lose a couple people on that. We're just being honest here. So, where do you want to start, brother?
Well, actually, I want to respond to something you said. The only reason Christianity exists is because of astrologers. The three wise men were Chaldean astrologers who actually almost certainly do the same kind of astrology I do, Vedic astrology, right? Because it had gone through Chaldea at that point in time. They first went to King Herod and they said, hey, so where's this king that's been born? Where's this greatest king of kings that's been born? And he's like, what are you talking about? And they said, yeah, well, we read the stars, and we know that this incredible king is about to be born any minute now. Is it your kid? Is your wife pregnant? And he's like, no. And they're like, well, we know this king is being born in this area, and he's going to completely turn everything around. And he goes, you should really help me find this little baby. And they said, absolutely, we will. And they went. They found Jesus, Yeshua. And then the angels came to them and said, you need to leave immediately in the middle of the night. Do not go back to King Herod. He'll kill this child, and this child has a destiny that's going to change the fate of humanity. So the only reason there is Christianity is because of guys like me, astrologers who had angels come to them, no less. Very similar.
There's a thing called Los Reyes Magos. It's kind of like, I think it's before Christmas or after Christmas, but it's the three
wise men.
The three wise men, and they found Jesus through the stars. At least that's what they tell little kids. Like, I remember being 100%. A little kid, be like, they found him through the stars. They walked to the stars and Los Reyes Magos, and you leave gifts for the Reyes Magos, as in like they came through, and you're supposed to give gifts for them. But it's you're right. It's to the stars. They literally said they found Jesus through not the North Star, but it was a star that they looked through. They followed that star and they found Jesus being born.
Absolutely, yeah. They used astrology. They had seen that a great soul was going to be born, and they used astrocartography to figure out where. And then they went there because they wanted to bring those gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. So, I mean, it's just silly to me. And what it is that I'm a gigantic fan. I consider myself like someone who aspires to follow the teachings of Yeshua, right? Love thy neighbor as thyself, which is so fucking deep. People don't even understand the depth of that. I try to do that
all the time.
I know you do, brother. You're a true Christian, and that's like the highest compliment and the rarest thing. You're a unicorn, brother, and I'd be mad respect to you.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, and
you hear that, Johnny? Respect me.
Well, look, I'm not that level of miracle worker. I mean, we are talking about Johnny on the ones and zeros. Like, I remember you had to cut out like a 15-minute section of the last time I was on the show where you guys were going cats and dogs with each other.
What was that?
It was about the 2020 election.
Oh, I don't remember it, but
I remember it because I was like, oh my God.
Did I?
Was it the big Biden bet that you lost?
Yeah.
It was probably about
I don't remember that, but I'm sure it happened.
No, I was saying shit like, well, obviously Biden doesn't beat Obama in like black districts, only in swing states, only in like Wisconsin and Michigan and frickin' Georgia. Like, he got more of the black vote than Obama.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, yeah, for sure,
That's
dude.
the biggest tell in the universe. Like, I don't need additional data. So,
yeah, it's crazy to me. And we'll get into, I want to get into that Shadow Wars and all that stuff. But it's like, I don't know, man. I think when you're like kind of like a Ronin, you know, to bring back an old term we used to talk at the beginning of the show, it's like it's easy to see everything because you're not emotionally attached to either side.
Yes.
So it's easy to see that, you know, you could be like, Trump is this, but guess what? Biden is this as well. And both statements can be totally true. You know, again, I said in the last episode, I'll say it now. I see Trump like Godzilla. I think he's like, he fucked up Tokyo pretty bad, but at some point Japan realizes there's bigger monsters coming. So it's like you got to kind of pick and choose who I don't think there's any heroes.
No.
I think everybody at that level is playing a game, and you just you have to brace yourself and look within. So yeah, I mean, let's get into these shadow wars. What are these shadow wars? You kind of brought it up last time. Let's do a follow up and update.
Absolutely. So, there's 3 tiers of consciousness that, broadly speaking, that humanity is in. So the rarest of the rare right now, because we're in the Kali Yuga, and the Kali Yuga is where humanity's at the lowest ebb.
Yes, it's the most physical, right? The most material.
Absolutely, the most materialistic, the most duality, harm of children, physical torture, slavery, right? Hive mind. These are all like Malachian level consciousness things. You're thinking about people like Soros, the Clintons, right? The Bushes, right? Maybe not. I have somewhat of a soft spot for W, but his father was Malachian AF, right?
Yeah.
Bringing the boys in from Boys
he's the leader of the death cult that has Washington, D.C.
Absolutely.
in a death grip.
Yeah, and so that's the I'll go ahead and drop them and hopefully don't get further in the crosshairs, but that's the Venetian black nobility. Not all of them, but most of them are Malachian, the ones who have been running things for the past 6,000 years. And they're really, if you trace it back, before, the British Empire, Washington, D.C., the Vatican. Before that, it's Venice. And before that, it's Roman centers. And before that, it's Tyre and Carthage, right? Moloch worship. And then before that, it's Babylon. They're Babylonian black magicians. That's who runs the fucking planet. Don't be deceived.
I think it's the most clear thing I've heard in a long time on the podcast. And that's why you really resonated with me. And it's just like, we are battling sorcery. I say it all the time, Ian, and maybe you could be somebody who could understand what I'm saying. But all this new tech, all these new war weapons, they're simply just hardwired mysticism.
Yes.
It's correct. Like, oh, dude, we got voice to skull, man. It's like, that's just telepathic. That's all they've done. So if I go, hey, Ian says he's psychic, which Johnny doesn't believe me, right? And Johnny's not a bad guy. Johnny's a good guy.
What is this?
No, Johnny, you're a good guy. You're a good guy.
I don't believe you're psychic.
Okay, right? Because you asked me to predict all this stuff, and I can't do it at the drop of a hat, right?
Correct. You can't.
What they've done over these hundreds of years is just fine tune, bang. Now we got the mechanism to do this mysticism every time, all the time, on point whenever we want it.
Yeah.
That's what direct energy weapons are. Havana syndrome is. Yes. All that frequency shit, weather manipulation is all mysticism.
You can do it through spiritual means, but usually you have to have merit, right? But so being dead materialists, among other things, the Malachians had to figure out how can we do that. And for almost the entirety of the descending and ascending Kali Yuga. And by the way, brother, you've got to have Bibudev Mizra on. I've had him on my channel.
I can't say it, but I'll have him on.
Yeah.
Bibudev,
yeah.
Can't wait till you have to introduce him.
By the way, I'll come in sweating because I've been practicing all day. Don't want to ruin this guy's day.
Bibbidi bop. Just go in some scat.
Bibbidi up.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, he's a genius, and he's locked down the Yuga cycle, and he's incredible. You got to have him on the show. Anyways, he has said that basically approximately 6,000 years ago, the Kali Yuga started, and that's right when all the descending Kali Yuga, and then there's an ascending Kali Yuga. And that happened at the basically the beginning of history, so they say, and yet we have all these sites that are indisputable, like Göbekli Tepe, and then, of course, the Great Pyramid, way older than they say. The Sphinx, Robert Schoch's work, right? The weathering on it, like indisputably way older than they say. But there's this giant gap, and it's because all over the world that Malachian consciousness took over. And in many ways, it operates through humans. There's both the deity Moloch, absolutely real, but it's also just a static level of consciousness. And people who are at that frequency, that deity can just operate right through them. And so because they're dead materialists, they've worked hand in hand with the Luciferians for the past 6,000 years. Like, watch the old Godfather movie. You got Marlon Brando. That's the Malachian king, right? And he gets to make all the decisions. He has all the powers. But Robert Duvall, the consigliere, right? He's the guy who gets shit done. He's the guy who does all the planning. He's the one who crosses all the T's and dots all the I's, and then he has to go kiss the ring of the Don, and then the Don makes the decisions. Right. But the smart guy takes care of it, the administrator, right? So that level of consciousness, which is very clever, the only way they could be near the levers of power was to work with Moloch, because that's who dominates during the Kali Yuga. That consciousness just utterly dominates. And so I guarantee the Luciferians are behind all this technology. And that's how they sell it to the Molochians. They sell their own demise over time. The Molochians would love to have us back in, the Middle Ages, where you're throwing shit in the street and everybody's diseased and retarded, right? You know what I mean? And like no human advancement whatsoever. But they go, hey, what if you could have even more power? And they're like, more power? So could I make them eat the bugs? I like to say Klaus Schwab's out there with the micro penis. He gets the tweezers out with the velvet tip. Get me the special edition, limited edition. Oh, yeah, eat the bugs, eat the bugs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's,
I do.
That's that Molochian level of consciousness, but there's crossovers between the two. So the higher end of Molochian consciousness is where it intersects in the Venn diagram with the lower end of Luciferian consciousness. And that's where the battleground is of this shadow war. That's where it's going to go down. And it's the super hyper ruthless Luciferians that are going to completely turn the fucking corner on these Molochians and string them up. And if you pay attention, you see it, but you have to know what you're looking for. And it confuses people because people are like, oh, it's all black and white. You're either Satanist or you're Christian. There's no in between. It's just black and white. Where in reality is that true? How many humans are pure evil or pure good? Nobody. Right? Or almost nobody. It's quite rare. It does happen, especially the evil version is a little more common nowadays.
I mean, if you study the Hermetic principles, right, they talk about the law of duality, of light and dark in everybody. And that's why, to me, why you could look at someone like a Trump or even a Hillary Clinton, and why some people see him as good and some people see him as bad, because it depends on which part of the light and the dark you see. So it's like, both of them could be right. I find it very hard to think Hillary's got any light inside her, but I'm sure you could find somewhere where she, even if it was mistakenly, did something good for humanity, right, at some point. But it's like, that's why you could see both sides of it, because they have both sides inside them. And I think that's very important. And I do believe there are degrees of evil. And so once I started talking to you and watching your channel, I started getting into the fallen angels, and this fits right into that as well. There's multiple fallen angels. Who are they? Are some of these pagan gods? Are they Nephilims? Are they fallen angels, the little g gods? I mean, this is the interesting stuff. And I don't know if we're really supposed to understand all of it based on our weird brains in this meat suit that we have. But I find it all interesting, and it's way more interesting than watching the news and thinking people are doing all this evil for money and power, because they have all the money and they have all the power. So what keeps them doing all this stuff? And I do owe you an apology. I was on your show and I said they didn't mention Moloch in the Bible. They do, in fact, mention Moloch in the Bible.
Correct.
So I was wrong on that, and my apologies for that. But when you brought up like the city of Tyre, that really resonated with me, and like why they hate Russia so much, because what Alexander did when he went into that city where they were practicing Molochian practices, and he just went there and whooped that ass, and they've had that kind of this resentment for that group of people for a very long time, and it kind of resonates with me on why they've had a hard on for Russia. Even if you get before Stalin, you go, why did they have to flip Russia away from the royal family? Why did they need a Bolshevik war? Well, this sounds like it, because Alexander's and his descendants and all that stuff, and they wanted to just wipe them off the face of the earth because of what they did in Tyre. That is me just putting pieces together, because I play it like, this is what, John, you play it out in your head, like how does it play? And that's, if you go from the invasion of Tyre to the Bolshevik War, that lines up for me. That's my humble opinion. Hey guys, real quick, I want to tell you about our friend James McMahon and Copy My Crypto. Listen, crypto is blowing up. They got to blow it up. They got to blow it up to get you into it. So enjoy the ride. And you know what? Copy My Crypto is going to help you figure out which coins to buy. Let me tell you about Copy My Crypto. I got a question for you. Has it pissed you off to watch crypto fly up in prices for over a decade and you still done nothing about it? It makes sense. Crypto is complicated and it's really boring. Well, here's the good news. You don't have to know a thing about crypto to make money like so many have. The CopyMyCrypto.com membership site shows you the exact cryptos that YouTube's James McMahon personally owns, which means you just copy him. It's like having a big brother who knows what he's doing. You don't need to know a thing about crypto or how to invest as you simply copy along. So let me tell you more about James. He runs Crypto with James YouTube channel, which has over 54,000 subscribers. Congrats, James. In the summer of 2020, he told his viewers to buy 26 cryptos. Had you put in $100 into each one, it went on to be worth over $123,000. Damn, dude. Of the 26 cryptos, his top pick of the year, the one he singled out called Phantom, went up 692 times from when he said. That one call has retired a number of people, including guys in their 20s and 30s. Remember, this is public knowledge. You can go to YouTube and verify this yourself. So if you'd like to join the 2,800 members who copy James, then pause what you're doing and head over to copymycrypto.com/TFH. That's copymycrypto.com/TFH. That's TFH. You'll not only find proof of everything I've said, but my viewers get full access for just $1. $1. Yes, you've missed out on Bitcoin, but there's over 2 million other cryptos. Do you really think you've missed out on all of them? Guys, don't waste any more time. Go to the site and read it. Once again, that's copymycrypto.com/TFH. It's ended money worries for so many. It may just do the same for you. CopyMyCrypto.com.
Yeah, and I mean, like, the Khazarians, right? So the Khazarians are in modern day Ukraine, right? Like, even the Ukrainian flag has the Khazarian taiga, something like that. I forget what the word is for it, but it's basically a trident. And so there was, in Atlantis, there was something called the Brotherhood of Belial. And so they're doing a throwback to the evil that brought down Atlantis with that trident. You find the trident all over the place. I was actually talking with XG offline before I came here in the studio.
I'm sorry.
No, it's a pleasure. XG is the man. So, yeah, I was just down actually in Mexico on business, and actually also down there with the Templar Grand Master Timothy Hogan, and we were going around to the sacred sites, and he was pointing out how if you look at the lower levels, there's all these megalithic structures, and they had all over the place the fallen god, and the fallen god is an encrypted trident. And so the thing is that all three levels of consciousness at the end of Atlantis were available there. Right? The same way right now, there's a tiny amount of people who are Most High affiliated, right? Resonate with that. A lot of people try and pretend they are, and they put 10% on the plate and then step over homeless people and just don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Right? Seeing ears, right? You know what I mean? People who aren't really serious. It's just a mask they wear for society, right? But then there's people like you who actually do the work, right? Who actually give back, who actually lift their fellow man up. I mean, you did it for me. You helped me in a huge way. And a big part of where I am today is thanks to coming on your show.
Oh, that's great.
Which was a direct result, actually, of Angelic Magick. The angels came to me and they said, you need to do, I was teaching my first group class, and they said, you need to do a ritual to get more exposure because people need to understand some of the things you're talking about on the channel. It'll help be a white pill to all the black pilling propaganda, right? And so I did the ritual, and then a few weeks later, you're talking about my channel when, like, I had 700, maybe 1,000 subscribers, and I'm closing in on 6, but they're suppressing the fuck out of me on YouTube.
I'm sure they are, dude.
Yeah, when
Have
you're
you thought
over
about
the target.
Rumble or Twitter?
Oh, I'm moving, but it's such a nail-pulling process. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Yeah, it's awful.
And it's so sad because it's like, I don't know why you are a threat to them. It's very weird to me. I mean, you are truth, and you're talking about all what you believe is to be the truth, and what you say resonates with me. So it's like, why do they why do they, censor flat Earth or homeopathic stuff? It's like I don't understand how that is something that's a threat to your power. It's very weird to me, but it means you're onto something. I mean, you're not spreading hate. You're not sitting there going, fuck these people, fuck those people. So it's like it's either you're spreading hate or what they deem as hate, which might not even be hate, but in their eyes it's hate, or you're talking about the stuff that makes them very scared because it's too true.
Yeah, absolutely. And so just to tie off that point earlier, Khazaria, right, it was actually like where modern-day Ukraine is, and it was actually that... I forget what his name, something or other Rus. It was like the original proto-Russian empire came in and conquered Khazaria and then basically turned into very similar to a Native American reservation, and they called it the Pale of the Settlement. I think that's where the term Beyond the Pale comes from because it's kind of similar to, these are both considered naughty nowadays, but off the reservation, it has a very similar flavor to it. And so that's why they hate Russia so much, because it was the proto-Russian empire that destroyed Khazaria. And they had been sitting up there taking orders from a group called the Rodanites, which were Babylonian black sorcerers that were sitting there squatting in the ruins of Babylon because they have all these portals open there. That's where they opened the original portal for Moloch to be able to touch the world approximately 6,000 years ago, right? And so they were giving orders up there, and they were dominating the Silk Road. Right?
Yes.
They were sitting right in the middle of the Silk Road, and they were dominating it, and they were making stacking fat cash.
Yeah.
And so that made them hate that. And part of the reason that Islam is hated is for a similar reason, right? I'm not talking about modern Islam that's been totally corrupted, but early Islam, like when you have the Ottomans come in and they first take over Constantinople, they actually had a number of kings called the Aslans or the Lions. And they went down and they kicked the Babylonian black sorcerers out of Babylon, and they never forgave them for that and went out of their way to destroy Islam. Islam was the light of liberty and science and art in circa 800 AD when us Europeans were throwing shit and piss like on each other in the streets, like, oh, sorry about that down below, look out below, or maybe not, like you don't even give a shit anymore. Well, actually you do give two shits and throw it directly on your neighbor, right? Like we bathed once a year or whatever. Islam was clean, there was science. It's like a lot of modern Western astrology actually was from these great Islamic scholars who were just kicking ass and taking names, and then a terrible darkness took over Islam. The original, some people think that Muhammad was actually from Petra originally, because the original mosques were all pointed towards Petra, actually in Jordan, right? And then they got moved to point towards Mecca, Medina, and they got the black cube there. That's
the black cube is crazy. And, we talked about this on the last episode, but it really resonates with me. It's like, I believe that the founders of Israel were Khazarians. They control trade routes, like you said, through the Caucasus Mountains, and Israel's a giant trade route to control commerce from Asia and Africa into Europe. So you get rid of Palestine, you put down a new canal. Nobody uses the Suez Canal. Now you got a canal that goes both ways. Suez Canal only goes one way. You got to stop it, then it goes the other way. Wow. So now you're going to have a canal that goes both ways, going right through Gaza. Guess what? The Khazarians are now controlling trade routes again. It's in their DNA. Why didn't Israel recognize the Armenian genocide? Well, because when you go far enough back, Khazarians are Turkish.
Yeah, there's definitely some crossover there, and so I think that it's important. And just to put this in here for people who aren't familiar, I see the Khazarians as like the so-called Khazarian mafia, which is really actually a vanishingly small percentage of Jewish people. They're just frontmen for the Venetian black nobility, and
totally agree.
The reason that they got put in that position was there was an internecine conflict, but basically between the Vatican and the bankers of the Rialto. And the Pope at the time wanted to pull more power into the Vatican. And so he banned usury at interest for Christians. Of course, they're not Christians. They're Moloch worshippers. And the Solibusca Tarocchi, it's the smoking gun that proves this. It's a tarot deck that has all this Saturnian, Malachian stuff in it. Look it up. There's a book called The Game of Saturn by Mark Peter Adams about it. Super dark book, and I want to warn any viewers that will change your consciousness if you read too deep into
I'm not getting it.
But you can at least skim it, read the back. It's nutty if you read just the pitch that he has on it. Like, it's the smoking gun. It's with the proof that the Venetians were worshiping Moloch, because a very powerful family, like, paid for that, right? So anyways, they ban usury at interest for Christians. And of course, they're pretending to be Christians. They're really Tyrians, and they have this thing called the Golden Book to trace their bloodlines back and keep them pure to Tyre and then Babylon before that, right? So because they were banned at interest for Christians, they said, oh, let's use these Khazarian refugees that are coming in who are escaping from being under the boot of the Tsar, right? And they were mass migrating at this time when Khazaria got suppressed. Let's use them as frontmen. And all of a sudden, that's when the so-called court Jews appear, right? And so it's a vanishingly small percentage, and I just really want to emphasize that. But think about it, right? Like, imagine you have an Irish conspiracy. Like, don't you think if everyone was named O'Donnell and O'Malley in banking and media and all this stuff, and, like, there's only, like, 1 million frickin' Irishmen, and like somehow like 80% of like the most important control networks were named O'Malley and O'Donnell. Don't you think people would like go after the Irishmen? Of course, right? So that's how you know that that's not the layer. But the thing is, the VBN being sorcerers, they set up what's called an egregore. And an egregore is like when you're in a sports arena, right? And everyone's like, go Dodgers, right? And they get like super hyped up and crazy, or better yet in Europe where they go super mad. Yeah, it's like a madness of crowds thing, a collective energy. So that's a naturally occurring or somewhat natural egregore, but you can make a magical construct egregore that can really capture people's mental energy and misdirect it. And so what they do is they have this two-faced one that either puts you into, hey, go nuts, do whatever you want, like in Palestine. That's fine because you're God's chosen people and I'll defend you to the death, right? And a lot of Christians do this, evangelicals. Or it's the Jews, blah, 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 mustache, Austrian painter guy was right, blah, blah, blah. Like, we just need to go all in on that, right? Like, if we just got rid of every last one, then the earth would be a perfect utopia. It's just them. Yeah. Right? And so it's brilliant because most people get caught in that layer. I was stuck in that layer for years. I was like, fuck the Rothschilds. That's looking kind of bad, guys. Like, I was like, look at all, but it's not them. It's these sorcerers who they realized when they lost the War of the League of Cambria, they were this close to getting wiped out. They were like, we got to go underground. And it was right at the exact time, it was around 1502. It was right at the exact time that Columbus had discovered the New World. The Venetians knew about
1502 is an interesting time, too, because that's right around when the Rothschilds come out, right? Am I wrong?
No, 1776 is when the Rothschilds appear, interestingly enough.
When was the French War with the British-French War? When is that?
They had bajillion wars.
Yeah, they
the
fought
100 Years War.
Which the Napoleon one, right?
The Napoleonic.
That's 1800.
Yeah, that's much later.
That's like 300 years later. That's
right before the American Civil War was.
Okay, because I know once the Rothschilds show up, everything starts to kind of change, and I'm totally with you. Like they are just the front men.
Absolutely.
For this black nobility group.
We're talking about 1754.
Was that the 7-year war with Napoleon?
Well, Napoleon had a lot of wars too.
1800. It's about 1800 for Napoleon.
Okay, all right.
So they almost get clapped by a pope and like I think it was a German and French king, and then they paid off the right people, they assassinated the right people, whatever. And at the last second, the alliance fell apart when they were about to march on Venice because people were fucking sick of them. By the way, Venetian black nobility, that's a title they took from themselves. It was a flex. It was a flex saying, "What the fuck are you gonna do? We do whatever the fuck we want," right? Because they were super arrogant because they had been running game on all of Europe since like 700 AD, whenever they set up shop in Venice after they had been Roman senators and stuff and stacking capital for centuries with the Roman Empire, right? So they almost get clapped and they go, okay, we need to stop playing the fuck around. So they liquidate all their capital, and they also realize we're on the east coast of the Italian peninsula, right? The Adriatic Sea. We have to go all the way around the boot of Italy and then through the Straits of Gibraltar and then across the Atlantic. And meanwhile, Genoa, right? That's where Columbus is from, right? Has like a 1 month head start. But Spain and Portugal have like a 2 or 3 month by sail head start. And that adds up over time to just, you can't beat it. So they liquidated all their capital and they moved to Amsterdam and the city of London. And in fact, Shakespeare hints at this, and you read some of Francis Bacon and Shakespeare stuff around the time, they talk about the Venetians, right? Like low key, like the banker of Venice, like they knew not to touch the third rail because by this point the court Jews have been around for a minute. So they're like, the Merchant of Venice is about Shylock and like the pound of flesh and all that stuff, right? But he was trying to point towards look at these Venetians have come in and they're taking over. And that's why the British Empire's like, Britain's like, do, just on the island doing nothing. Nobody gives a shit. And all of a sudden they take over the whole planet out of fucking nowhere. Right?
And if you look at Britain now, you go, how do you make money? Like, how's your pound worth anything? Like, what is the way you make your money? You have no. What do you send a couple cars out? Like, how,
it's the cuisine.
Yeah.
Sam.
Your whole economy is based on tourism. How is your pound worth anymore? That's it. It's because they have a lot. They play dumb. They play dumb. Everyone thinks that the British are just like, oh man, shucks, we were really powerful one time, mister, but we're not anymore. And you're like, okay, City of London, royal family, all that stuff. It's crazy. Guys, real quick, one more time, if you want to see me live, go to SamTripoli.com, click the links. Plano, Texas, 18th through the 20th. Eugene, Oregon, 26th through 27th, and Aurora, May 4th, be with you, and then May 5th will be at Janesville.
Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, let's go. Oh, dude, you're going to be in Wisconsin for Cinco de Mayo.
It's going to be weird. I'm going to be the only Mexican there.
We'll make sure they got Corona.
I'll come to one or both of those Eugene shows.
Come.
I'm just up in Corvallis.
Yeah,
so,
dude. My buddy Joe King opened it up. Hey, guys, real quick, I want to tell you about our friends at Mood. That's right. And their new THCA product. Listen, there isn't just one way to celebrate 420, and there isn't just one way to enjoy your THC. Mood can help you achieve just the right high with their federally legal flower gummies, vapes, and more. Browse by different moods and get 20% off your first order and free THCA pre-roll with the promo code TINFOIL at hellomood.com. All right. It's pretty awesome. When you heat THCA, it changes into THC, and that's what causes the classic high feeling. And Mood has 10 high-inducing strains, the most potent they've ever offered.
Nothing better than Hello Mood during April, especially during 420. Nothing better. Their dabs, their moon rocks, their edibles, top notch. Nothing better than it. I push it on everybody. Everybody at We Don't Smoke the Same is on this. Stay tuned.
Yeah. Oh, man, that was the best. Mood puts an end to the guessing games with federally legal forms of THC extract from hemp plants. All their products are regularly tested in third-party labs, sourced from small farms, and pesticide-free. Different strands for specific moods, from euphoric to energized to creative to chill, and plenty of versatile products that can go with whatever mood you're going for. Great for beginners and veteran users. Great tasting gummies, classic flowers, convenient pre-rolls, and so much more. So here's what we want. All you out there who are celebrating 420, celebrate 420 exactly how you want to with Mood. Get 20% off your first order plus free THCA pre-rolled at hellomood.com with the promo code TINFOIL. That's hellomood, HELLOMOOD.com, code TINFOIL. But it's just like, I go, how do they make? I remember. Brian Callen, it was so funny. We were doing basically the equivalent of a USO tour for the troops. My buddy Steve Burns, like, hey man, you want to go entertain a troop? I'm like, hell yeah, let's go. So we flew out. On the way back, the chick who was in, I don't even know, like, Khazarian. I don't know. It's like another. It's not Khazarians. It's another country. Kazakhstan. Yeah. She does our connection, and there's no way we can make this connection. We end up missing the connection in England. So I got to spend one night in England, and Brian Callen's basically, his whole family's out there. His sister, who aligns more with me than she does. By the way, most of Brian Callen's dad, they're not conspiracy theorists, even though Brian's dad is literally a master of mankind. If you ever study Brian Callen's dad, was the head of the Bank of Saudi Arabia.
Whoa.
Yeah, dude. And if you study his thing, it's his job was to get money back for loans he put out, which is the whole Babylonian money magic thing.
Absolutely.
Anyways, Big Mike's a great guy. Brian Callen's one of my best friends. his sister aligns more with us. His sister and his mom are total conspiracy theorists, but they let us stay at their loft. They had this really nice loft in London, and I remember her husband was really big into banking, and he was on the phone, and I asked him, I go, why is the pound worth so much when you have no natural resources to export? Like where he didn't have an answer for me.
It's the city of London.
It's
not
city
London.
of London.
It's not London, the giant ass city. It's the city of London, the banking square mile, which is exactly like the Vatican in Washington, D.C. It's a micro state that's like a parasite within the host organism, and it has completely different laws, completely different rules. When the king or queen, the most recent time, I don't know if Charles went there, but the Queen Elizabeth, when she went in there in the past like decade, the queen has to bow to the Lord Mayor of London. Like that's kind of that Rothschild poke in the chest of who runs this bitch, right? Yeah. And so the whole banking collapse, 2008, it came out of the city of London. It wasn't. Everybody talks about Wall Street because Wall Street is. Well, it's sort of it's the front men for the banking square mile.
I find it to be a Ponzi scheme. Wall Street. We do a show called Cash Daddies, right? And we'll be talking about how all these businesses are doing like shit, and then we'll go on the show and we'll bring it up to our normie friend on the show, Howie Dewey, and they'll be like, "Oh, their stock's up 10%." I go, "That doesn't make any sense to me. If everyone's canceling on them, they're losing money left and right." Now I go, you realize that they just make the number up. It's just like, oh, I'm going to play that number. I'm going to make it up. It's just blah, blah, blah bullshit. It's just, it's absolutely crazy, dude.
It's a sports book.
And by the way, Prince Charles has never gone to the city of London because he doesn't want to leave his house, which is literally Dracula's castle.
King Charles?
Yeah, King Charles.
Yeah, if he's still with us.
I mean, we'll see. Well, there's a lot of discussion of that. The part of the New World Order is to get rid of all the royals. I mean, because there's been a war on the
Luciferians taking over. It's part of them taking over 100%.
To get but is that Moloch or Luciferians?
Why not just step on even more toes than I already have, Sam?
Do it.
Yeah.
This is a show about stepping on toes.
I would say, yeah. So, yeah, I would say that they're a branch, right? They're not the trunk, but they're a branch of the Venetian black nobility, but they're way down the line. Like I'm not going to drop the name because I do have some respect for continuing to breathe. But if you look into what Diana's butler said that the big secret that Diana's like, the queen's like, you can never tell this. They went down Italy way and they had to kiss the ring of a different Italian family which shall remain nameless again, because I like being 6 feet above the earth instead of
We have one family we can't talk about on this show.
Well, you don't want to talk about this family either, let me tell you. So, yeah. Yeah.
Or do we?
No. You can, but we don't. We meaning me. That's the royal
Can you
we,
write
Sam.
down and we try to get Xavier to say it properly? No.
Johnny, you dodged a bullet on that one.
Oh, yeah. Johnny can say all the words.
Johnny can spell. It's me.
Yeah, Johnny can.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
No, but go on. So the family in which we cannot name.
Yeah. So, anyways, the point is that right now, get to loop back and after 17,000 tangents ago to the Shadow War. I mean, you're seeing them pinch. You're seeing them pinch assets of the Malachian side, and you're seeing them do slow drip. Like, you notice how Epstein just never gets out of the news cycle? It just happened again. They just did a big dump on cell phone. Who's doing the dump? It's the Lucy's, right? I call them
Lucy's.
I call them.
I love that.
You'll love this then. Okay, so Malachians are Mollies.
The Mollies versus the Lucy's.
And then you wait for it. What are people like us? Mosties.
Mosties. Mollies versus Lucy's against the Mosies.
Well, the Mosties are mostly just what you should be doing as a Mostie is fire up your popcorn, sit back, and frickin' stay the fuck out of it because it's about to get rough, right? So later this year, the proverbial shit's really going to hit the fan. There's no chance it's not. I mean, I think everyone knows that deep down in their bones. But, one of the things we were going to talk about, and as a major aspect of this, is this Soros-style weaponized immigration. There's mega assets. Oh, wow, can I say that?
Yes, you can.
Okay, well, no, bro, I tried to protect my sources, so to speak, but this man can protect himself and everyone else. So someone else you should have on the show. Do you remember that crazy thing in Peru with the aliens that were coming down and kidnapping people last summer? My homeboy, Josh Amaro, who's like a badass who trains Navy SEALs, knife fighter, like firearms expert. He trains
I'm all about it.
Special forces all around the planet. He went down on a shoestring budget with a film crew, and they directly interviewed all those people. I interviewed him on my channel. He has stuff on his channel. Oh, buddy, Josh, I'm so sorry. I'm blanking on the name of your channel, but you can find it by going to White Lotus of Light on YouTube and Josh Amaro. You got to have him on because he came away with it, and you know who I think it was? I don't think it's aliens. I think it's something to do with the post-war Nazi International, actually.
Listen, dude, now you're talking my language, dude.
Okay, so check this
Antarctica,
out.
Operation High Jump.
Yes, that's exactly where I was going to go, brother. Okay, so do you know who Robert Seffer is? I got some mixed feelings about him. Sometimes he goes a little too soft/hard on, 1930s Germany. They did get the trains to run on time, I think
you're talking about the YouTube guy, right?
Yeah, Robert Seffer.
Where he
He's
does
like the anthropologist.
Yeah,
guy.
everyone wants him on the
It's
show.
very calm in the beginning. He plays very calm in the beginning. It's kind of like he walks down the park.
Oh, yeah. And he always said, he has the gayest intro of all time. I mean, I have mad respect for the guy, but that intro is trash.
There's you're the second guy who's taking shots at that dude on the show. I have no problems with him.
No.
I've asked him to be on the show. He doesn't want to do podcasts. Guests
He's
can say whatever they want.
He's amazing. I don't want to dog on the man's intellect, right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, if you watch the channel, you need to know, like, everybody has a bias, right? And you should always, with any show you watch, including mine, take what resonates and put the rest in the trash. Because we're all on our own individual spiritual journey.
Nobody's 100% right.
And no one's 100%
100%
right.
wrong.
And if you think you're 100% right, you're fucking dead wrong.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. At
Yeah.
least on that point, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, he dropped this Antarctica video, which to me is the video of 2024. You gotta watch it. Gotta watch it, Sam. It's gonna blow your fucking mind because it super blew my mind. And he has this, I'd never heard of this guy before, which I don't know because I've been down more rabbit holes than damn near anyone, right?
Yeah.
In the past 25 years. But he had this guy named Jason Rice who, this guy's disappeared, and I think he might have disappeared Sopranos style, like might not be coming back. But he was giving these lectures like at, I want to say TEDx or something like that, or some kind of disclosure conference, blah, blah, whatever. Bro had the inside scoop on the post-war Nazi International way I've never heard. And he said, so there was a Nazi U-boat campus says, we have set up an underground Shangri-La for the Führer. It's an impenetrable fortress, right? And a lot of people say he's referring to Antarctica, and that under the ice there are, and again, I'm just trying to piss off literally every power elite on Earth, and maybe they'll all be like the Three Stooges trying to get through the door and smash into each other.
Yeah. I'm in.
The sniper bullets will hit in midair when they would have like tagged me right in the head,
would
right?
love that.
Whatever. I would not. Well, I would love the avoiding of the death, yes, and I plan to do exactly that. Walk through the firefight, John Wick style.
Right.
Anyways, so he says, they did. They succeeded. They set up bases that you can only get to by sub, right? And then when Bormann, who was, say what you want about the Nazis, they were organized and they looked really sharp in that Hugo Boss, right? So is it Hugo Boss? Is that right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah. They look sick as fuck. I'm sorry, like evil, right? Awful, but man,
and it's like that old sketch of like, how do we not realize we're the baddies? Like, we've got skulls on our uniforms. How do we not know we're the bad guys when we have skulls? on our uniforms?
Hans of he's the baddie.
Yeah. What is that sketch? Do you know?
I don't know.
This
who
is the
did
one
it.
though.
Yeah.
This is the video you're talking about.
Yeah, Antarctica Disclosure.
Yeah,
It was
he
Robert
goes
Seffer.
deep. Yeah.
It's fucking fire. You gotta watch it if you're into conspiracy theory and you want actual legitimate research, because there's so many psyops out there. It's unreal. There's so many psyops.
It's that Mitchell and Webb look. That's what it is. Yeah, those guys are great.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Jason Rice said that they successfully shut up shop down there, and then when Admiral Byrd goes down on a scientific expedition with a fucking mini army, and emphasis on army, not so much on mini. It was like a full-blown flotilla with the battleship, a fucking aircraft carrier, which they basically didn't have in World War II, right? Like, they came down prepared to clap. right? Like they're like, oh, there's some pesky Germans down there. Let's clap on these fools.
Yeah.
But it's 47. So they'd taken Die Glocke, right? The anti-grav technology, and they had 2 more years to refine the prototype. And they came out of there with the Foo Fighters, whatever the fuck you want to call them, the real
David Grohl.
Right. David Grohl. That's right. They came out and they're like, man, you're so fucking weak after your Nirvana sets that it's devastating. It completely wiped out our army. Like guys were just offing themselves right, left, and center, saying Kurt really fucking threw his back out carrying that squad. No, but yeah, they came out with the flying saucers and fucking just wrecked shop, but let them leave to send a message like real G's, right? And so then Robert Byrd goes up and he goes, hey, yeah, so they have these craft that can fly from pole to pole in hours, right? What the fuck, for starters? Follow-up question, also what the fuck, right? And then he goes back up to the U.S. and that's it. Never talks about it again. But one person we know he reported to was Robert Forrestal, which was the guy, is that right? Forrestal, the Secretary of Defense, right, under Eisenhower, who suddenly got real sad at the top of Bethesda Military Hospital and went out a plate glass window from like the 6th floor or whatever. That guy had more secrets than anyone, right?
Yeah.
And they offed him. So
Isn't that the guy from the TV show? Is that the story? The guy that they offed that knew too much, so he was on acid or something? Was that the guy?
No, that's Wormwood. That's also sick. Like, that's actually, I don't understand how that got out on Netflix, because that was like mega truth bombs in that. Mega truth bombs. My job was on the floor. And
well, how about when they put out Dope Sick and you're like, you just told us how COVID went down. It's almost a revelation of the method. If you study that.
It is.
If you study that, right? It's
yeah.
You're like, how did you basically tell us how you bribe everybody and you get rid of anybody who doesn't play ball,
right,
and you have zero, and the health department has zero problems with killing off everybody?
Absolutely. Yeah. And so part of the reason I feel remotely comfortable talking about all these subjects openly is because they have bigger fish to fry because of this shadow war, right? But let me just put a pin in, or not put a pin, tie a bow on this. So he goes, they come back and they say, look, the Germans are legit, right? And then, I think it's 51 or 52 over the White House, most famous of all UFO sightings, except for somehow a lot of people don't know about it. I mean, it should be like in the history books, like, this kind of matters. Yeah. All these UFOs over the fucking White House, bro.
Yeah.
It's the Germans, bro. A lot of people say that, like, Dr. Joseph Farrell, who's the biggest fucking gangster researcher out there, incredible. He says that he thinks that what went down at Roswell, and I'm going to piss off half your viewer base, as I like to do when I come on your show, but he says that they had the air balloons for the blue pill dumb fucks, right? There was air balloons, or was weather balloons at Roswell, right? Mind you, what were we doing at Roswell? It's right over the hill is White Sands, New Mexico, nuclear program, right? So for the idiots, they have the weather balloons, right? The blue-pilled idiots, right? The Biden voters. Not sorry about that one. The Biden voters, right?
None of them listen to this show.
That is fine. That is true.
You can tee off on them.
I'm going to tee off
There's got to be one Biden supporter that listens to
I don't
Well,
know, man.
I'm going to convert you.
The only thing we have is there's Trump supporters, and we don't like anybody's supporters. So
yeah,
I mean, there's
giant
no
meteor
woke people
2024. Right?
I'm with you.
Just ended already. No, I mean, I don't know. I'm low key like, go Lucy's go Lucy's go. Just because they don't fuck kids, and that's kind of like a big step in the right direction as far as I'm concerned. And string up the ones who do. I just have a pretty hard and fast.
I think there's degrees, and I think you're right.
Into capital punishment on that.
That gets into some stuff where people start to get weirded out because, we've been, within Christianity, they're told Lucifer, Lucifer, Lucifer.
Oh, yeah.
But I 100% believe that Moloch is darker.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, I'm not okay, let me be clear. I do not support Lucifer or the Luciferians, but the enemy of your enemy is your friend. That's a thing, right? And when you're facing an existential threat where they want to brain chip you and have you eat the bugs while Klaus Schwab and the velvet tip tweezers, micro penis jerk off fest happens, right? Like, I am not into that. That seems worse to me than ruthless capitalism, top down structure, surveillance state, all the stuff that the Lucy's agree with the Mollies on, right? So it seems like it's a step in the right direction. Is it where I want us to end up? No, absolutely not. Like, we can aim much higher. Love thy neighbor as thyself. That's really, that's what we should all be striving for. That's what
it's very interesting, man.
Yeah.
Is like, you talk about where they want us to go. Johnny was just in Europe, and he was talking about how they're way farther down in the cultural wars. And like, I want to tell everybody, like, that's where they want the end. That's where they want to bring this to. It's like we have a chance to stop this and save this and save the world. I don't know if we'll ever get back to the world that we grew up in. I don't think that's at all possible. No. I think we'd be maybe even a better place where like everybody has equality. But if you don't wake up to what they're doing right now, and what they're trying to do is get you to not believe your eyes, your ears, or the wisdom of your experiences. Like Johnny talks about how like there's was it articles you saw where they were like, and listen, and I'm gonna make a statement, but I want everybody to know, like, I'm fine. I want everybody to work. But they're talking about how like 30% of the actors in television or commercials were African Europeans, or blacks. I'm just gonna say blacks. But they make up 6% of the population.
It was even less than that.
Yeah.
And what is that about? Well, that's cultural Marxism. Yeah. That is. And listen, I want everybody to work. I'm for equal opportunity. I'm just not for equal outcome. Like, you got to earn what you get, man, at the end of the day. And that's my whole opinion. So it's like, I totally agree, man. There, someone put out a video about all these famous actors and who their either parents or grandparents were. And we're talking like huge political figures, and their kids are all just touch butt actors now, like, because they're the rich ones who don't want to get into the family business. So they just want to get paid to play make-believe all the time. Yeah. And it's like, I'm watching this show Beef with Ali Wong, which is a great show, but it's like they make Ali Wong seem like she's like El Chapo. Yeah. And you're like, you're a tiny little Asian woman. Yeah. And I've met you before. You're the nicest human being ever. It's like, and again, I love the show. I'm happy for Ali Wong. It's probably the best show from my peers who I know, who I've worked with at like the Comedy Store. It's probably the best show.
Here's one of the stats, by the way. 37% of UK TV advertisements feature black people, although only 3% of the population is black.
And you go, why is that? Are you telling me that
more than 10x?
Are you telling me that they are the best actors at audition? I just can't. No. I can't.
It's actually deeply racist, this CEI, DEI stuff, because it creates envy among people of color by saying the only way you can get in is if we give you a hand up, which is bullshit. It's not true. And secondly, it makes white people resentful of it. It's to like gin up a race war. Like, have you not noticed how hard they're trying to go on ginning up a race war? And look at like Disney replacing the first group they went after is like, what's probably the most distinct feature of white people that no other race has? Redheads. Right? All the redheads in various comics, Archie, blah, 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 like Ariel, blah, 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 those are the first to be replaced, followed by blondes, and then brown-haired white people. They've been replacing it left, right, and center. It's not an accident, and it's not to help people of color. Quite the opposite. It's to gin up a race war. So we're at each other's throats while these assholes, who, by the way, are mostly white, like sit in their frickin' mansions and laugh at us as we frickin' attack each other. You know what I mean? And certainly not all rich people are bad by any stretch of the imagination. If they were, we'd be fucked. There's a ton of rich people that are amazing. I know some of them. Like, I'll just give a shout out to my boy Nick, if he's listening. He is amazing, and he's on like the right path, and I've been working with him, and I've been watching him. He's a CEO of a bunch of different companies. I've been watching him grow. I've been watching his spiritual vibration go up. I'm teaching him Angelic Magick, giving him Vedic astrology advice, and he's using his position in life to make the world a better place. So not all rich people are bad. That said, the people who are causing the biggest problems are very fucking unbelievably, unfathomably wealthy. We're talking trillionaire, quadrillionaire, literally. I'm not kidding. I know that sounds insane, but all the people on the Forbes list, those are little bitch frontmen for real money.
Yeah. I mean, at the very deepest end, if you know their names, they're not run shit. Like the closest to power that you know their name is not even Bill Gates.
Rothschild.
It's this guy named Rothschild's part of the 13 family. So yeah, but like Bill Ballmer. Steve Ballmer from the Clippers. Like, I love him because he's this wacky guy that is like a blow up, like one of those used cars blow up guys at the show. Little do you know, he's literally a member of the Committee of 300. Like, his name is right there. You know how much power you have to get into that room with the 300 most powerful people that are just below the 13 families?
Yeah.
Like, that's power.
Yeah.
And you study that whole story about, him and Bill Gates just happened to be in the same dorm and it just worked out. No, dude. None of that just happens.
Right.
It's all scripted,
Yep.
and the story is told. The story of Facebook, that movie is a giant propaganda lie.
Yeah.
All that was from DARPA. All these billionaires are rich kids who've been positioned because the data said they were
Absolutely.
crazy enough and cutthroat enough, and they'll just do it whatever because they're greedy, and
Yeah.
they'll do it. You know, and now you got Jeff Bezos. He's just out there banging some Mexican like porn star looking woman, right? Like, look at her, dude. I mean, it's like some really weird shit.
Is this going to be like an Ark of the Covenant moment where if I stare directly at it, that my face just melts off?
But it's just
I'm a little worried, Sam.
No, I mean, like, she's like that Fimbot kind of look.
Yeah. That's
man,
bad.
She's a bit scary looking.
Yeah, that's
and I don't even mean unattractive. I mean like she radiates evil. She looks like a
there's
handler.
I don't know if she's I really hate the whole thing that every
No,
famous
that's a fake. That's a fake conspiracy.
No, I totally
I
agree.
agree.
Like, they're trying to say that Caitlin Clark. They're like, oh, that's
she's
a
just-
like,
dude,
look
but
how frail she is.
It's no coincidence that the best female basketball players have more testosterone. No
But
coincidence.
I look at her; she doesn't even
But
have
she's not.
testosterone.
No, she's got a manly face. But the point of that is just
There's
that
some
they
ugly
have
chicks
more
out
masculine
there.
Yeah, that's true. Too.
And I feel so sorry for I used to back in the day. I'd low key like some of these androgynous women, short hair and whatever, and they were natural women.
Hey, dude,
And now-
dude. We don't judge here.
Yeah, so I'm recently single and have I hate to say it, but got back on the Tinder game just because want to have a palate cleansing moment, right?
That's not a place to go for palate cleansing.
For real, I know, but just just to even get my mind right in that direction, get back in the game. God, it's so frightening because I actually went on a Tinder date years ago that ended up being a trans woman, and I'm like, look, disclose that shit.
The notion that they don't have to tell you that is
No,
so
it's fucked
insane
up.
to
And how
me.
is that different than a guy who's like, oh yeah, I'm a millionaire, blah blah blah, and just lies nonstop, and then bangs the girl, and she's like, all right, where's your yacht? And he's like, haha.
Yeah,
blocked.
women want truth, but then again, those are dudes. I just don't understand how you think that's okay.
No, it's not okay. I mean, look, I actually have a relative who's trans. I'm okay. The equal rights is fine. The whole competing, speaking of basketball players and whatever, the whole idea that trans women should compete against biological women is
It's
retarded.
so dumb.
It's retarded. What happened to having spaces for women? How did they flip?
Well, because this is how you divide and conquer.
Absolutely.
everybody.
It's the same thing, right? It's the same thing we were talking earlier with that CEI, DEI thing with the, people of color being boosted and lifted to an absurd degree, not based on talent, but based on pushing an agenda. And also, they're giving a wristy and a warm jacuzzi to get that position, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're playing ball as well.
And again, it's I
Literally.
think we talked on the last last episode. Is just this is what happens when you get really rich people.
Yeah.
Really rich. They're born into wealth. They have to have purpose. And what do we see at all these drag shows? Shiny, bright white women with their shiny, bright babies sitting there acting like they're doing some kind of civil rights movement. And you're like, what are you
It's basically Rosa Parks, Sam. How dare you?
Yeah, it's so crazy to me. It's so crazy to me that they think that somehow is a higher form of enlightenment. And dude, drag shows are great for
adults. Thank you. I got to get a high five
fives
for
on
that,
that.
brother. It's all about. That's my problem. Leave the kids alone.
Yeah.
I don't want strippers. I don't want hot, Tina the stripper to go in there and be like, "Hey kids, check out my huge tits."
Yeah.
Right? And she's a natural born woman, and
Yeah.
it's all a hetero strip bar. No, I'm
No.
not okay with that.
Yeah.
They're fucking kids. They're
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
Sorry to pound the table, but I
That
literally
you're allowed.
pound the table. On
That's
this.
allowed.
No,
You're
you
you're
gotta
very
protect the
passionate
kids.
about it. I'm with you.
I mean, were we gonna act that some females didn't like the Hooters?
Well,
no, but that's what I mean. It's not okay. Some people would agree that taking your kid to Hooters isn't appropriate for some people. I could see the same thing for like drag. It's like it's the same.
No,
kind of thing.
I mean Hooters is much different
No,
than a
I know,
drag
but
show.
it's no.
It would
But
be
I'm
like
saying if you
taking
can
kids-
complain about Hooters, I've heard people. I've heard moms complain like, "How can you take your kid to Hooters?"
Yeah, but then they like, but I'm taking my kid to the trans show.
Yeah,
That's what I
it's-
mean. It's like
Yeah.
they want to pick and choose on which one.
Hooters just seems like a conservative strip bar to me, where they're not really getting naked.
Yeah.
And those outfits are ugly. That's why they closed. It was just ugly. Hooters' problem is that the morals got so loosey-goosey that being dressed like that isn't that crazy, because I can just go down to anywhere and women are dressed like that now. So
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
they just lost their
Business
ground.
model.
Yeah, they just lost it. You can't listen. It goes back to Bud Light, right? You can't have a shitty product and a shitty marketing scheme. That's the same thing about Hooters. You can't have like big deal. They're not even that dressed that crazy, and you can't have shitty food. And that was really Hooters' problem. We all convinced ourselves they had good food because we wanted to stare at the time was very risque looking women.
Yeah.
Now it's like that's like, I mean, dude, you see women go to like church dress crazier than that.
Sam's Explorer feed on Instagram is worse than Hooters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, mine's crazy now.
Are you
dude.
you cleaning
Mine's
it?
all spiritual. It's like not as because I've been doing this doom scrolling thing, so I'm getting fed some really great
Oh, so
videos.
your
dude.
algorithm's getting cleaned up, huh?
A little bit, yeah. A little bit. I don't know, man. Lately, I've been getting a little love from the tech gods, which scares me.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, why are you being nice to me right now?
Dropping that in.
Yeah, that's what I mean, Johnny.
Should I just keep dropping ends all the time?
The cheat code, dude.
Oh my
Apparently.
God, I thought you said you weren't gonna like bait him in. With
We
that.
weren't, but I think he would have figured it out anyways.
Yeah.
He was like, okay,
The controversy.
The N-word makes white people send it to other white people.
Yeah.
So it'll go viral.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like, the reason I like talking to you is because I like to understand what we're up against, and
Yeah.
that people just that you can't beat something that you can't, one, discuss, and two, understand. If you don't understand what you're up against, what they're doing, you'll never be able to beat them, and that's why like, I mean, the beauty of the internet. And like, I personally believe, Ian, that it got away from them.
Absolutely.
Like when you, like
100%.
Johnny, we talked about this before, and I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing it, but like they thought there was going to be 5 websites back in the day when they made this thing, right? And then they didn't realize that nerd dorks who have like can't get laid are going to come up with ways to dominate the internet and create all these new Now everybody has an.
Well, the thing was too, they didn't have any concept of a search engine back then, So this idea that you could ever keep more than a handful of, it was like phone numbers, It was like, how many web addresses are you really going to memorize? What people are going to have a list? The earliest search engines were just like indexes, basically, which were just a list of websites about things that you could kind of sort through different categories. But once they had crawlers, web crawlers, then the whole internet opened up
And I would argue that was a Luciferian gambit. And they talked the Mollies into it doing exactly like what you said, right? That, they won't be able to do it because blah, blah, blah. They knew. And they knew that it was going to be like the opening salvo on the Shadow War, right? Because we're not having this. I mean, forget that we're on the internet for a minute. We're literally not having, even if we were broing down, hanging out, right? We're not having this conversation without the internet. No way.
Yeah,
because of the amount of
100%.
information on it. And the Lucys knew that 100%, and they pushed and duped the Malakians into doing it. They do it all the time because they're
They
10
even
steps
say
ahead.
that. They even
Yeah.
say that. You hear the Rothschilds and Rockefellers saying we should never have given them the internet.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, it's a deep regret of theirs, 100%, because like it's completely changed everything. And so I'm of the opinion that this is a very long-term plan. One of the best theories out there for what's going on. So mind you, like this whole white hat, black hat thing is garbage, right? Because the Lucys are not white hats; they're gray hats, right? It's gray hats versus black hats is a good way to look at it, right? People who are pitch black evil versus people who are extreme assholes. It's that whole thing from that South Park, not the South Park movie. What was that thing with the like stick figure thing? What was it called? Team America?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
World Police.
So in Team America, he says, He says there's 3 kinds of people in the world: dicks, pussies, and assholes, right? And the problem is nobody likes dicks because they just come in and fuck everything, right? But the assholes, they just shit all over everything. And sometimes dicks fucks assholes. So you could look at it as like it's a certain sense, right? In the most gross and awful way, right? I don't even like saying this, but right, like kind of most high people, like we're turning the other cheek, right? We're trying to bring humanity to another level. And if you want to be crude about it, we're kind of pussies, right? Because we're not going to get out there and kill. These Lucy's will get out there and dick down the mollies, and they're about to in a big, like, you know, I'm trying to think of a good porn star, Lexington Steel level here. They're going to come in swinging 13 inches soft on these guys. You know what I'm saying?
So I've heard you say in the past, like timelines, almost of when you think. I see even in your notes you want to talk about it. So we have this kind of the Deagle report. Yeah, I don't know if you've heard about it. It says America gets down to 50 million people.
I don't think it'll be that bad, but yeah.
So, but you think a bunch of people are going to be lost? Is that your opinion? And what ends up getting rid of a lot of people?
Well, it's a bunch of things, and yes, unfortunately, I do. I mean, one of the things I've been gifted with, despite all my swearing and dirty, filthy mind, I actually do have a very strong connection to the angelic realms, and I talk to the angels very frequently.
Do you think angels ever swear? They got to swear once in a while.
No, they don't.
They
don't, but they don't really. They really do, but they don't super judge us about it. They're like, you guys are doing really well in the Kali Yuga. The whole not harming children thing.
They're
like,
just positive. They're just like, you got.
Well, if you're
they're like
bad,
kindergarten teachers. They're like, you're doing great.
They are a bit like that. If you're a good person. If you like, I actually know someone who's like was a warlock for years and taught all these people black magic. And one day the angel showed up to him and said, "We're going to show you all the horror that you've wrought upon the world by teaching people black magic. And if you don't straighten out and fly right immediately, you're gonna like have to sit there Clockwork Orange style in hell." And fucking review like you're getting right now a little mini Trita, but you're going to experience it viscerally for however long it takes for you to fully accept what you've done, right? And then you can reincarnate after that. That's really what hell is. So anyways, the angels came down to me and they said quite a while ago, they were like, best case scenario, several 100 million die, right? This is in like 2020, probably 2021, they told me this. And they said worst case scenario, you get the Georgia Guidestones numbers, like 7.5 billion die, right? And the Malachians, because they never like to let go of control as the Yuga shifts out of the Kali Yuga, the reason that people are like, well, why don't the white hats / Q blah 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 gray hat folks, why don't they just go in and clap them? If they have it all, why don't they just clap them? The thing is, imagine that you're going in to arrest a billionaire, but he has his house wired to explode. And the minute he goes, are you going to take my billions? Oh, dude, I'm not even going to use the explosives. I'm just going to set off the gasoline and I'll burn us all alive. I don't give a fuck. I'll never give up power. That's the Malachian mindset. So the Luciferians have to very carefully peel their fingers off the levers of control without it going full-blown nuclear Armageddon, which, by the way, will never happen, according to the angels. Neither will a super deadly virus. If that does come out, it's a psyops. It's bullshit, right? Just like the last one, right? That will never happen. There'll never be like nanotech that goes out and kills everyone, or there might be some amount of autonomous drones, but there'll never be like some of those scary black-pilling, killbot autonomous drones killing everyone. That'll never happen. It'll be prevented by the spirit realms. So the Malachians want to kill as many people as possible on their way out. They're just assholes like that, right? And the Luciferians, they want to have a global high-tech civilization, right? And you can know, people say, oh, well, how do you know that any of this is true? Well, let me give you an example, a concrete one. If you look at what they're doing with the blockchain financial system, it's ultra granular, like Ripple XRP. They have people in India with old school flip phones that are paying for like meat sticks on the streets of Calcutta as a test to use that system, all the way up to banks with hundreds of billions or trillions of dollars of transactions.
XRP?
Yeah, that's the Ripple. Yeah. It's one of the cryptocurrencies.
Johnny, that's XRP, right?
Yeah.
Celsius stole all my XRP.
Whoa, that sucks. Well, just get more, dude. It's cheap now. It won't be for long. So, anyways.
Oh, you think that's the one that blows up?
Absolutely. And XOM. So check this out. I had lost all this money in crypto, and the angels came to me 2 years ago, and they said XRP and XOM, that's going to be the center of the new Luciferian financial system. And I was like, what?
I've been hearing
And
that
I
about
went-
XRP.
And
for
I
a long
went
time.
back. Yeah, it's true. I went back and like I didn't know what XRP was when the angel said it. I'd like seen it, so it wasn't completely foreign to my mind. The angels generally can't tell me something that's completely foreign to me. They don't speak to me in Japanese, for example.
That'd
right?
be so crazy.
And they said XRP and XLM. XLM will basically be digital silver. XRP will basically be digital gold, right? And will be used for high level transactions.
XRP will be which one? Gold?
Yeah, it'll be like the rich guy. It'll probably eventually you won't be
Oh,
able to buy it.
it's down.
It's super cheap. Oh yeah, everything's down right now because it's the pre-Bitcoin. Whenever Bitcoin has a halving, there's always like a washout beforehand to like all the people.
I hope
in
it all
leverage.
goes down. I'll buy more of it.
Absolutely right. Absolutely.
How down?
100%.
Relax. How down?
Dude, if Bitcoin get down to 10, I'd be the happiest guy.
Oh my god.
I'd buy a chunk of it.
What about the people
I'd
that
sell
already have
kidneys
some?
at that point.
What?
Please don't. No, I don't want that to go to 10. I've got too much Bitcoin.
That's what
for it
I'm
to go to 10.
saying.
How much Bitcoin you got?
But
I
you
got enough.
gotta have them
Enough
diamond.
enough
More than
nuggets,
two?
bro.
Hey, I'm doing fine. I'm not telling people.
That's
Oh,
really real.
he's a big roller.
That sounds like a
7
whale.
and Celsius took them from me.
Oh my god, you should sue him, dude.
Well, it's too late. It's a long thing, dude.
It
It goes back to the Talmud.
So, oh boy. All right. Well, I'm not going to touch that one. But what were we saying right before it? Oh yeah. So this new financial system, right? It's granular and it's meant clearly for billions of people. Why would you spend literally decades planning the system and then you're just going to kill everyone down to 500 million? Nobody has everything, any money. No, you owns the nothing and eats the bugs, owns the bugs, yeah, right? Like if you're going to have everyone in a pod, you could have a Yahoo chat room with 1992 technology and have the 13 families or whatever, which by the way, the real 13 families are very different than the ones most people think.
Okay, who are these?
I am trying so hard not to get killed this
Come
episode.
on, dude.
No, look it up. You can say the 13 families you think ruled the world versus the 13 families who actually ruled the
All right,
world.
put it up
You'll get a
there.
meme. Yeah, I didn't say this.
I am so
said
pissed.
as one tier removed. I have
I
no
bought
direct
XRP
knowledge of this.
So cheap. I'm so pissed off.
Yeah,
Well, it's cheaper than you bought it for right now, I would imagine.
I don't think
It's
so.
gone
I
down
bought
a lot.
really early, dude.
yeah. I bought
Way
35
down.
cents was when I was buying.
Yeah,
34
I mean,
cents.
it's just-
I'm
It's
at
not
like
big
10 now, right?
still.
But they
No,
were
it's at
talking about
56.
how they're going to try to buy back all of the XRP.
They probably will. They'll probably make it so you can't hold it unless you're an accredited
How could they do
investor
that?
or a
Oh,
financial
yeah. Well, that's
industry.
what- you see, that's
but
what they
if
did
you
at Celsius,
already
yeah.
hold it, and by the way, put that shit in a cold wallet, get it off the exchanges, bro.
I
Put
got to
it-
get a cold
Put
wallet.
it. Yes, you.
I
do.
got so
Put
much
it-
money.
Hear me when I say this. Put it in a Faraday bag. They might have Wi-Fi
Yeah.
back doors where they
Yeah.
can get into even your cold wallet offline.
What world are we living in when these scumbags are doing
That's
this?
why I don't like to talk about having crypto at all because you just become a target.
Hey, what
Yeah.
is
well,
this
I don't
you're
have
looking
any.
at?
I just,
Yeah, I don't have.
I don't,
any.
I
even
don't
have
own
a drop-
any. I got it all
my
stolen.
gold and
I
silver.
quit.
Yeah, like it. I was
quit.
using it for ballast in my boat, and I had a terrible boating accident, and
Gone.
And it's all gone.
Yeah, yep. And
All
so
right.
I'm going back to the dollar. I trust the dollar. The
So
dollar's
who
strong.
okay, let's go. These are who we think run the world. The Astor, Bundy, Collins, DuPont, Freeman,
Not
Kennedy,
my words.
Ella, Lee. Lee is from China. Onassis, Rockefeller, Russell, Van Dyke, Miragivian, Rothschilds.
Oh, no,
Okay.
this is a debunking site, bro. You need the meme. Type in meme. And maybe go on
Meme.
like Yandex or something. Google's not going to give you
Oh,
this
what are we
info.
going on? What are we going on?
Yandex.
Russians?
Type
Okay.
in meme. Type in meme. Yeah, Yandex is the Russian site. The Russians were like the best form of propaganda is to tell the truth. If you type in Vladimir Putin's naughty, it'll be like 0 results. But if you type in Biden's naughty, they'll be like unlimited results. You always got to think of the bias.
You want
of
a
the
TikTok
machine
clip?
using.
No.
What?
You want like a TikTok clip, like a meme?
It's a meme. Yeah, meme. Meme is
It's
in
a meme,
picture.
dude. It's
Meme
not
and then
a-
images.
yeah.
Meme and then images.
Okay. Let me see. If
There
I
you
can-
go. That one. Boom. First one.
Okay. So
But you gotta
Daddy's
zoom it
reading
in.
it.
Let me see.
Daddy's going to read it.
I love that. I love the strong daddy vibes.
Well, I'm a dad.
I am too.
My daughter
I'm a
beat. Oh,
daddy in
Johnny,
every
I
sense
can't
of
wait
the
to tell
word.
you this story.
That's the worst.
There you
fucking-
go. But,
Okay.
maybe something with 2002 levels of clarity.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
worst.
Try that one.
It's
Funny
gonna be
memes.
the same one. Watch.
Funny memes.
No, it's not.
Funny memes. Who are your controllers?
There you go.
Okay,
It's
here
a
we
little
go.
bit better.
So we read those.
Boy.
And this is the 13 families who actually went the Borgia.
There's more than this. But
Okay, the Brick Spear, the Sumagali, the Orsini, the Cantonini, the
Such
Cheeky,
naughty words right now, bro.
the Kelowna. We've had people talk Kelowna
thing
on
is
this.
that he's
The
pronouncing it so
Farinisi,
wrong.
the Medici, which is where medicine comes from, the Gittini, the Palmphili, the Esti, and the Aldobaranini.
Yeah, that was super butchery. Great job. That one was cloaked beyond cloaked.
AI won't be able to get that.
No, yeah,
There's
protect
more.
us.
So yeah, you can't kill the retarded.
Oh my God. Yeah. So again, I just want to be utterly clear. Sam found this totally on his own.
Yes.
I don't have any videos about this on my channel.
Yes.
And I disagree. It's exactly like you read it. Biden has all the power. Like he's a very smart man.
The only name we
administering at the
don't see
highest of
on there,
levels.
the only one we don't is the one we're not allowed to say on this show.
With the P.
Yeah.
Oh, does
Yeah.
it end in an I?
I can't spell.
Oh
I
my
think
God,
so.
you guys, Jesus Christ, you're killing me, Smalls.
No.
Okay.
R.
Yeah, there's one that ends in an I that starts with a P. That's
We can't say the name.
I will not say any of
It's
these
not
names,
on
in
that.
fact.
And we've
Because
said
I
it
don't know
before.
where you even came up with this, Sam. Like, man, this is some top tier research, XG. He just pulled it straight off the dome. It's amazing. I have
What
nothing
were
to
we
do with
talking
that.
about before I went on this long thing?
God only knows.
Ripple and the next currency.
Oh
Currency
yeah,
code.
yeah, yeah. So like, look, if they were gonna take everyone's loot and slap you in the tank, right, and you'd be in the VR hell with Mark Zuckerberg going, "Hey, how's it going, Sammy?"
So crazy.
Right, like just getting
just
super
breathing
creepy.
on you?
Yeah, just breathing and like it's normal to have barbecue sauce on my bookshelf, right? So they could solve it literally in a Yahoo chat room with just 15 people talking to each other, the 15 people who actually own everything. The fact that they have this extremely complicated, very granular system that, again, goes down to the Calcutta guy with a flip phone
Right.
levels. Someone very smart is planning on there being quite a lot of people still around in the not-too-distant future. Otherwise, why go to all that effort?
No,
And they're
that's a
going to
great point.
unlimited effort. So that's the good news, right? The not-so-good news is that these people aren't really your friends, right? They're absolutely ruthless capitalists, bad to the bone, right? They're utterly ruthless. They believe in meritocracy, and they're going to cheat. They're going to lie. They're going to steal. They're going to bend the rules as much as they can. They're going to try and fuck you over. They're going to have a one-up on you because they're going to have the total surveillance system. They'll have that. They'll have digital ID. They'll track everything you do. That's where they both kind of agree because the Lucy's want that level of control, and they have no problem with having a loaded deck. None. But the Malakians are like, we don't need a deck. They just put the gun on the table. I think you're giving me your money. There's a difference between those two, right? You got to, if you realize the other guy's dealing you cards and he'd go, hey, good for you. Let's do a deal outside this game, right? That's the Luciferian mindset. Hey, you figured it out. You figured out the game. You're a smart man. Let me bring you under my wing. Let's make some money together, right? The Mollies would be like, I'll just shoot you right in the face. Actually, you know what? Fuck that. I'm going to shoot you in the dick, and then I'm going to harvest your organ while you're still alive.
Damn.
Right? Like, that's the difference between these two groups. It's Elon Musk and Trump versus Soros, Schwab, Gates, right? Like, think of the difference. Like, just vibe check those guys that I just rattled off. There's a big fucking difference between Trump and Musk. Musk, people say, but what about the brain chip? He slow rolled that for like over a decade. And then right after he bought Twitter, he immediately got rid of all the child porn on it. Within like 10 days. Even liberal groups were like, wow, we've been trying to get Dorsey and that horrible pedo, teen boys can consent to gay men because we're gay, so it's different somehow. That scumbag guy that was like the head of that, should have been cleaning it up and Twitter never did, right? Like Musk gets in there and he gets rid of it. And the reason is, I trained with a shaman, literally from a Siberian shamanic line, and also... He had also worked with like this Nepalese tantric magic line as well. And he told me way back in 2004, he said 6,000 years ago, things were getting darker and darker. And there was a group of kings and who had sorcerers and were teaching this king sorcery. And demons came to them and said, there's a darker force that you haven't tapped into yet.
Yes, I love this.
And he said, well, what do you mean there's a darker force? And they're like, there's much, much more ruthless than anything you've come across, much darker, much more powerful. And so the Sorcerer King was like, hook a brother up.
Why
what
would
do I
you
gotta
do that? Why would you? Oh, there's darker, more ruthless? Let me know.
Because your consciousness is dropping. It's right as the Kali Yuga begins. And so he says, you gotta harm children. You gotta harm children, and then you gotta kill them and adrenochrome them. And he's like, done. Let's do this. And it opened a portal to the lower astral, the lowest of the lower astral, the bottom of the Qliphoth, right? Like you have the tree of life, right? The Kabbalah tree of life, and then you have the Qliphoth is the mirror image of it. And at the very bottom, the bottom sphere is Moloch, right? And so they opened portals by harming children, and they did this first basically in Babylon and the surrounding area. And that's why that part of the world is so important to them, is because...
Where is Babylon?
In Iraq, actually.
Dude, that's why I've been saying forever that we live in a haunted house.
Yeah.
And some areas are more haunted than others.
Yeah, like the Arabic Peninsula is like #1 with a bullet.
Yeah, they're like, and like you can march all you want and you could do all this stuff, but you can fix it maybe for a second and then it just goes right back. Because, you know, if you study, let's say, like someone who's a really good athlete, right? He makes all this money. Does he ever stay in the neighborhood he grew up in? No, he grabs his family, he moves them out of there to somewhere that's less haunted.
Absolutely.
And that, like, like, again, I believe we're born into certain places for certain reasons.
Yes.
Everyone's here on their journey.
Beautiful.
And you're like born into these places, and they're good for a little while, and then they just revert back to what they were, which is a haunted area of the haunted house.
Absolutely. And so he said, our #1 goal as like white magicians is we got to put a stop to pedophilia. And I was like, done, sold. I was sold before you even told me this. And he's like, you don't understand. Like, literally their power is built around this. The Lucys understand this about the Malachians. That's why Musk, it was the first thing he did. And that's when Musk suddenly got on the hit list. And after that, Musk like goes off about the WEF and blah, blah, they're so evil. He then goes to the World Government Summit in like Dubai or the Emirates or wherever the fuck it was, I don't remember. And he goes, we need to stop having this top-down consolidated control, and we need to have more stakeholders, more like horizontal control, and we need to have more meritocracy, right? Enough of this nepotism monopoly model. We need to have competition. We need to may the best man win, social Darwinism, which again, social Darwinism looks pretty good compared to Stalin, right? Just frickin' purging, killing everyone, right? So, he made that move because he's a Lucy, right? And what happened right around that exact same time is all of a sudden Bill Gates and Bezos are like, hey, we're on the brain chip wagon as well. And all of a sudden they were like, we need to develop this because why haven't you got it done? Why, you know what I mean? It's like Elon Musk's like, oh, sorry, boss. Like, oh, like whatever kind of thing. Oh, I'm getting some hiccups, blah, blah. He slow rolled it because he knew it was a centerpiece for their control. And the Lucys have slow rolled a ton of things that the Malachians wanted because they know 2025, the jig is up and the stars will be right for them to take over.
Listen. What you're talking about right now is what Eddie Bravo says all the time about Operation Warp Speed. That what Trump did, and this is Eddie's take, is that he fucked their timeline up. That they were going to have a longer timeline for this rollout. They were going to seize more power, clamp down harder, lower our vibrations more.
Absolutely.
And by getting this thing out, and this is what Eddie says, is that it fucked their timelines up and it became really janky and really obvious about what they were doing.
He did it on purpose, Eddie thinks?
That's Eddie's take.
So the other point is that if they had waited till like Trump's out and Biden's in, it would have been done differently, just like you're saying. But also in addition to that, they put out a lot of saline, right? There were early reports in the summer of 2021 about how they'd find entire giant-ass batches that were filled with saline. And all of a sudden, it got memory hold. It got memory hold so hard, that specific thing. And all you could find when you type in saline was some German nurse, heroine of the ages, make a statue twice as big as the Statue of Liberty for this woman. She was putting saline in and saving people's lives. Well, the Lucys did that at scale. And the thing is that the Malachians want to kill everyone. Pretty much. And enslave the remainders as sex slaves and whatever.
And what is their purpose on wanting to kill everybody? What does that do? How do they have more power if there's no people?
They're anti-God. They want to destroy God. They want to kill God. They want to wipe out God and even the thought of God and anything to do with nature. They want to invert nature. Whereas the Lucys, right? Their central thing, the Malachians, is self-hatred at their core. And then they project it outward and do all this insane evil. The core component of Luciferians is narcissism. Lucifer said to God, hey, bro, you're going to give these people free will? I'm going to show you fucked up. Dude, if that's not the big dick narc move of all time, I don't even know what is, right? And so Lucifer says, no. The perfected man, the Verturian man of Da Vinci, right? That guy going like that, right? That is what we're shooting for. We're shooting for perfected humanity. We're going to replace God with science and with us, and by extension, Lucifer at the middle. And then the core teaching of the Most High is love thy neighbor as thyself, right? Self-love at the deepest level, you touch directly with God internally. And you can do that through Yeshua. That's a beautiful path. And like, again, tip of the hat to you, Sam, for like truly trying to embody that. It's hard.
Trying, bro. I'm trying.
You're like Goku when he went to the heavy gravity planet to train. That's all of us who are most high, mosties, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. We're deep. We're in the tail end of the Kali Yuga. It's pretty next level fucked up right now.
Some dense shit out there,
It
dog.
is. And so we're training and we're lifting. And when we get into the next
So crazy
thing,
that you said that.
Yeah.
The Goku analogy, because he's like, it's the gravity's so powerful there that he's not powerful, so he has to train extra hard to eventually.
What is this from?
Goku.
Dragon Ball Z.
I thought that's what
It's
it was.
yeah.
And I'll take it,
Yeah,
bro.
you should
It's
take
over
it.
9,000.
He called you Goku. He's like the strongest Saiyan in the world. That's
Yeah. And so, yeah, dude, you're like doing the heavy gravity planet
fighting.
training right
I'm
now.
fighting.
When we get past this, like, we're going to have that off our shoulders. And here's the other thing. The Luciferians don't want to wipe us out. During the Kali Yugas, there's a natural law, right? Because we all have to collectively stare into the abyss and do fucked up shit to each other and witness the horror of this all. So we go, maybe that's not the way. Maybe trying to just destroy and invert God's creation is not the way to go. Maybe we need to go in a different direction. We need 6,000 years to learn this, apparently.
I think people are getting there, dude.
Right, they are. We're sick of it. Everybody's sick of it. Everybody's sick of it except for just completely delusional madmen and women,
I think
right?
people are waking up to it, man.
They are. And so the next stage is we can do better, and we can do it better by improving ourselves because we're going to do all this science, all this technology. And that'll be the Bronze Age, the Dwapara Yuga. Again, Bibu Dev Mizra. I couldn't even say Brother Bibu's name there. Got to have him on the show. The Dwapara or Bronze Age Ascending Yuga and the Treta Yuga, the Silver Age. Lucifer rules during that. And then it sets up the golden age for 6,000 years. Last one being
So we're not going to
Atlantis.
make it to the other ones.
Well, it depends on whether you believe in reincarnation or not, which actually is in the Bible. Like they say, isn't Isaiah, I think it's Isaiah, isn't Isaiah supposed to return before they come?
Yes.
And they said yes, Jesus said yes to the disciples, you know him as John the Baptist. So it got stripped out. It got stripped out of the Bible very intentionally because when it's YOLO, what are people going to do? If you think it's only one life and you either have heaven or hell, or worse yet, the Malachian version of that is it's a blank screen, game over, nothing, right? Dead materialism. How are you going to act? You're going to be super easy to manipulate. Whereas if you think I got to come back and face the consequences of what I've done, it's going to inspire you to be a better person.
I agree with you,
karma.
dude. And that is a big part of this whole thing with progressives who don't want to have kids and how they act and what they promote, what they defend, what they fight for is anti-God.
Yes.
Because all they have right now is their job.
Yep.
And the quickest way to move up in the job is a virtue signal, like a motherfucker.
Yes.
So that, I love these kids. I'm going to save the planet. I love the trans kids. And it's just like in that system where that's childless, that's important. I'm the most righteous. I'm protecting the earth and the trans kids at the same time. I'm protecting trans earth, okay? That's how I'm operating. And that's why they have to do that because their job is the most important thing for them. They don't have any investment in this world past their last breath. Mm-hmm. So they don't care. So they're passing the dumbest legislation. Yep. They're doing all the stupid shit, and they're so insulated from the results of their voting because they have so much money. That if something actually bad happens to them, it's just bad luck. oh, I got mugged, oh, I got shot, or I got AR'd, whatever it is. It has nothing to do with my votes. Like right now in New York City, there's a real problem with women are getting punched in the face.
Yeah.
And
I saw that.
and like I don't think that's. Listen, dude. I have 2 daughters. I go out there with a gun and kill somebody. Okay.
Yeah.
But what are you voting for?
Yes.
What have you been voting for years? Because the alternative to you, and this is exactly why I do the N-word bit. Okay? It's because, and hey, more power to Owen Benjamin. He was the head of that. Give him his flowers. Okay? That when I see that the theory of hatred, race, bigotry, whatever that is worse than actual real life consequences on the street, that to me is very dangerous.
Absolutely.
When you're more worried about what could happen than what is actually happening, that to me is dangerous. So it's like, why do you do the N-word joke? Well, because I was at all these fucking shows where everyone's making baby rape jokes and everyone thought it was crazy and hilarious, but no one would say an N-word. And I'm like, what does that mean, dude? And that's nothing against black people.
What?
I don't call black people the N-word, but it's like,
no, it's so funny because I know I'm not. There's a lot of guys that do like crazy pedo jokes, but I know one, and he knows what I'm talking about. He will never say the N-word. Like, it would destroy. Like to him, it would be.
You know why? Because he knows that a black guy will come up and punch him in the face for doing it, but he knows that kids can't do anything to him.
Kids can't. He does some crazy jokes where sometimes you're kind of laughing because he's
I know
a comedian,
who you're talking about,
but he won't. The N-word's crazy, but you're right.
And I'm not sitting there saying we all should have N-word jokes. That's not the point of this. The point is like how come we're okay with this? How come the Me Too movement destroyed the relationship between men and women based on the notion that there's a toxic work environment, okay? But none of them have come out against pedophilia.
Right.
With all these people.
Look at P. Diddy, right? Okay, so Kanye says this thing, which I have a big problem with. He went a little too hard, little bordering on Austrian pencil mustache.
What do you say, DEFCON 5?
Yeah, well, but he had said some other stuff too. He went just a skosh too hard. But I also see, like, he's not entirely wrong. You know, the whole thing we've been talking about, the Khazarian Mafia, that tiny sliver, right?
Yeah.
But they debanked him.
Ashkenazis.
And Lindell, right, the My Pillow guy, they debanked those guys like that.
Yes.
Gone. P. Diddy comes out, it's like incontrovertible that he's harming kids, and they're like, well, we should see, you know, poor P. Diddy, like maybe there's a misunderstanding here with all this video documented evidence and tunnel. Like, what's with tunnels too, dude? So creepy. So like those people don't face a consequence. Remind me how many Epstein clients have been tried? Right?
Yeah.
Ghislaine Maxwell's list still.
I agree.
Still under lockdown. Like, come on. Like, that's the biggest tell in the world. And it's because it's the center of their power. On the material level, it's blackmail. It's the ultimate. It's not even a honeypot. It's like a horrible thing. They use it for blackmail, right? That's how it was sold in the first place. But the deeper level, the spiritual level that keeps that lower astral portal open.
Okay, we say Jeffrey Epstein was kind of like a informant, right, for the FBI? He worked.
Well, he was an agent.
An agent. We don't think that maybe Diddy was an agent for hip hop.
He's
As in getting the videos for them. Now hip hop.
Listen,
now you gotta.
if you want to study anybody you think might be a Fed, study their rise. Does it make any sense? So when P. Diddy is 24, he basically starts a brand new record label out of nowhere. With is it even 24? He could have been 22, 21, 22.
It was ridiculous.
He signs Biggie. Yeah, he signs Biggie. Biggie was his biggest sign. Yeah.
Nowhere. He gets all this funding. Why? Because of data. All this is data. What is the data? Oh, this guy's ruthless. This guy's cutthroat. He's also gay. He's a sexual deviant. Yeah. And if we feed that beast, he'll do whatever we want him to do. Okay? And you're like, dude, you're a sex addict. And now you have the money and power to enjoy all your vices as much as you want. And then on top of that, you get to blackmail the people you do it with.
Damn, you're right.
And now there's no consequences for and you have law enforcement who's protecting you, bro. That's it, dude. I mean, study anybody's rise. Yeah. Explain to me the rise. I'm telling you, dude, there's comics out there that I guarantee are feds. If you study their rise. It doesn't make sense. And it's like, why wouldn't they infiltrate the comedy scene?
And that means in every scene. Everywhere you're walking around, there's a fad. You're working at a cannabis industry event, there's a fad.
Yeah, look up Operation Long Leash, and that's all you need to know. All the counterculture artists, even Noam Chomsky.
Oh, yeah. Dude, there's another scumbag. He wouldn't condemn. What's your relationship with Epstein? That's none of your business. Bro, that's very much all of our business.
100%.
If we are going to have a society at all, we have to protect children, hence my pounding the table earlier. And they're like, he's like, that's off limits or whatever. And people are like, well, let's give him a pass. It's Noam Chomsky. Get the fuck out of here. What? Like, you can't condemn people just based on their associations, but you start getting enough. I mean, how many open pedo friends do you have, Sam? Zero, right? Of course,
Zero.
duh, because you wouldn't ever have that. The minute you even think that might be a thing, you're cutting the fuck out of your life. Right?
Yeah,
even before you had kids.
I did it. And I caught it for it. And the surest sign this guy is up to no good is that nothing happened to him.
Wow.
Nothing. Everybody else who got accused and just accused on no evidence, just accused of stuff.
Yeah.
Lost their careers.
Yeah.
This guy, they had receipts for this dude.
Yeah.
Literal receipts. He literally said, her dad let me do it. Said it was okay.
Oh my God.
And he still works today. And but it is a
yeah, it's because he employs people. He's
no. I'm telling you, this is what's gonna happen. Once he stops making them money. His only hope is that they don't owe him any money for past projects. That's the only way you can get out. So Diddy, Dan Schneider, they all have the rights to intellectual property that makes the fucking bigwigs money. And they owe them a lot of money, but guess what? They're not generating any more money. So that's like, oh, okay, let's get rid of this guy that we owe all this money to through all these clauses. Let's either throw him in jail.
Oh yeah,
right. I mean,
well, the other thing is, I think the P Diddy thing is it's a Luciferian move, right? Showing people, hey, guess what? It's way deeper than you think.
Yeah.
It's not just Epstein. It's not just the politicos. It's in the music scene. It's in black culture, right? You're going to find like all kinds of people. What's that one? Was it John Legend's wife? What's her name?
Oh, yeah, Christy Teigen.
Dude, that woman
literally
is like
a dude. Literally a dude.
Well, whatever. I don't care how they identify what they got going on downstairs. Terrifying. Terrifying human being, right? Remember the thing where she was on the red carpet? What about the Obamas? Yeah. Remember that Obama thing? And he's like, oh, we don't talk about that because we like to, have no additional holes. Yeah. Right? And he like freaks out, and she somehow said it. Like, I don't know. She just got the crazy eyes too.
Well, I mean she's tweeted so much shit about pedophilia.
What? And just they skate. Like, how do they just skate?
Because kids can't do anything. That's why.
And we have to defend them.
Kurt Metzger brought it up.
Yeah.
He's like that the left has just made everything so illegal in terms of what you can talk about. The only thing left is Satan and pedophilia. Those are the only edgy things that they can talk about.
Wow.
It's the only thing they can get away with. Like, look how edgy I am. So it's pedophilia because I got a comic I know out there. I just don't want to say names, but this guy made his bones on being edgy, and now he's like, if you're hurting people's feelings, maybe that's not the way to go. Why, he has like 20 minutes on pedophilia. I'm like, dude, you don't just riff on that shit. Gross. You don't just riff. You don't riff.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. So they're all out there, dude. It's coming to light. But the reason nobody cares is because kids can't mobilize and cancel you. That's why they can't show up and beat the fuck out of you.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I don't know how many people about my M-word joke have threatened violence against me. Oh, you're lucky you don't say it in front of my face. I'm like, why would I say that in front of your face? You're not my friend. And I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about me.
Yeah. And you didn't buy a ticket either.
Yeah, and you got to buy a ticket. If you want to buy a ticket to my show and then try to swing on me, then we can talk. But the point is, dude, is that's why these guys don't do the M-word joke, because they think these guys will beat the shit out of them. But they're not afraid of kids. Kids can't mobilize.
Yeah.
Kids can't show up to your thing and beat your fucking face in.
Yeah, that's the two poles of Malachianism versus Most High. It's Epstein-style harm of children for Moloch, and protect the innocent is the highest calling of Most High people, and people have forgotten this. It's so obvious. It's just like what happened to bring it back to earlier. What happened to protecting women and having safe spaces for women and girls? Remember that thing that happened at the spa a few years ago, where there was some trans woman flipping her man meat around. Right? I don't even know why I said her there, but whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I want to support you.
Listen, we don't hate all trans. There's some people just want to live
but
their
this is
outlaw life.
but this is not okay though.
You're-
Right? There's
I'm
a
with
big
you.
difference. Do whatever you want with other adults. Literally, go nuts. Anything that comes into your head, absolutely go nuts. You want to have 16 guys in a circle boning each other in a perfect circle, and it's like human centipede but with dicks, right?
Yeah.
Go nuts.
Go have a great time.
Truly go nuts. I don't care. I'm not interested. Leave the kids alone. So this person had their dick out, literally, in front of like little girls, and the mom goes to the front desk and is like, "Oh my god!" And so the front desk goes, "You're canceled. Get the fuck out of here."
Yeah.
And she's like, "What?" So they had a protest there. Antifa shows up with bear mace and sprays children in the face, and everyone's like, "It's 2020. Orange man bad. Good job, Antifa. You're not really a thing. You're an idea." Bullshit. It's the federales, homie.
Yeah, they're all feds.
Well,
They're
not all of
feds.
them. There's a lot of deluded kids that are like
No, they're all
dumb,
rich kids,
low.
too. Like,
Yeah,
everybody
there's
in
rich kids, but
Portland.
there's also low IQ. Like, literally, I'm from Portland originally, and like, there's my mom knew someone who was like a low IQ kid who got sucked in. Just like there was going to be also important. There was going to be a Christmas Day bombing. They found some like 75 IQ Somali guy to do like a fake thing, and the FBI's like, "Here, have this fake bomb," and he's like, "Yeah, okay," and they're like, "You should do this because God is good, all is great, blah blah." And then they pop him and say, "Look what great law enforcement are doing. Also, now terror alerts at orange, and we're taking more of your rights."
Yep, I agree.
Right, but so they take advantage of people who are already messed up too. I mean, that is another component.
Well, I mean, dude, again, going back, and we'll wrap it up here.
Yeah.
Going back to the sorcery thing.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, like, we had Jim Lee on and Topher Gardner on, and they were basically talking about how they put out just frequencies that, based on the medication these kids are on, the subliminal stuff that they could go out and shoot somebody. So Obama gets one day we find out Obama used Five Eyes to spy on Trump.
Absolutely.
Literally the next day, there's a shooting at the Kansas City Chiefs parade game. You think that's just happens, man?
Wow.
That's like, they got a button. Boop, 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 and then all of a sudden a frequency comes out, and they just need something big to pop off. So they put it out there, and then bang, based on your medication, your what you're watching, all that stuff, they know exactly there's enough people out there to cause chaos. And then you got a story. Now everybody's just talking about the Kansas City shooting, and no one's talking about Obama got busted over and over and over again spying on an incoming president, which makes it worse than Watergate.
100%. And do you know who William Cooper is in the book
Yeah.
People to Pale Horse?
Of course.
He talks in there, right? This is before Columbine.
Yeah.
He said they're going to use young men who are on SSRIs to shoot up schools, specifically with assault rifles. You notice they never try and take pistols or shotguns?
Yep.
Even though pistols and shotguns are 98% of all homicides, maybe 99 point,
Yep.
I forget what it is, but it's like 97% at the low end are shotguns or pistols, all deaths. And it goes higher with you add in all deaths because of suicides. Obviously, you're not going to use an AK.
Well, most of
Unless
your
you're
gun deaths.
Cobain.
Unless you're Kurt Cobain, cough, cough, Courtney did it.
But I mean, even if you go off, you put all guns. Most of your gun deaths are suicides or gang related.
Right, and so why? And right, because a highly concealable pistol versus I got this giant ass thing.
Well, also if a bunch of tanks are coming in, your whole block is like fucking G'd up, dude.
Yeah.
And they come in, everyone starts shooting. It's much better than pow, 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 pow. Right?
It's an elite security concern because you can theoretically get away. That's why the Taliban was able to successfully fight soldiers forever. They had these old World War I era rifles, but they can shoot from super deep, right?
Yeah.
Like they're looking like Damian Lillard from half court out there, right?
Yeah.
And they were able to get away. People aren't nearly so interested in trying to do a resistance when you have to get 6 feet away and the other guy has an AR.
No, I'm with you, dude.
Right? So that's why they're going after it. And so, like, that's an example of how they have, they've been working on certain agendas forever. But the Lucy's have held the line on a bunch of things, and that's an important one.
Last thing, I don't want to go too long, but did you have something about intelligence and magic?
Oh, yeah. So from an astrological point of view, right?
Now, when you mean intelligence, you mean intelligence or
No, I meant like
government
spies.
intelligence? Oh, okay,
Spies,
yeah, let
right.
me hear
Okay,
this.
so in Vedic astrology, the same house, the 8th house, right? Your chart is divided into 12 houses. You divide the sky up into 12 houses. The planets fall in certain signs and certain houses. The 8th house is the house of mysticism, the occult. It's one of the sex houses along with the 12th house. It's all things hidden, right? It's also betrayal. It's a bunch of like any kind of like hidden things, but it's mystical. It's a mystical form of spirituality. Standard religion's 9th house. 12th house is transcendental religion like Nirvana, not the band, but rather Buddhism, right? You're transcending the world. But the 8th house is mysticism, right? And magic. It's also spies, right? It's also intelligence. It's also like anything that's hidden. It's psychology as well. And so if you look at like certain intelligence agency sigils around the world, they actually have tons of occult symbols in it. Like, for example, if you pull up like the Pakistani ISI, that's a fairly safe one to talk about, it's chock full of occult stuff. And that's because the Venn diagram between those two, it's almost a singular circle. Almost all spies have some kind of interest. They have a natural interest. It's the same reason, like, I work for high-level clients now, and that's fish in a barrel to some degree, because if you have a stock second house, that you have super high income, that means all those planets in the second house are aspect in the 8th house. That's why rich people are so interested in the occult so often, is because they have a loaded second house, and they're making that Skrilla, and it aspects their 8th house, which is directly across from it. And that's why a lot of rich people what's the number one group that is making money in D.C.? It's the people who sit in the intelligence committee. How about that?
Dude, I heard this the other day. You know how many people work for the Homeland Security? Take a guess. Yell a number.
500,000.
500,000. It's 250,000.
Yeah,
think
that's
about
crazy.
that.
That's a lot.
250,000 people.
That's a lot.
In one government department.
That's immune from the Freedom of Information Act. Thank you, W.
Oh, that thing's all when you get into the numbers. Dude, I could talk to you all day. This is my jam. I love it.
Yeah.
I love that you came in. We got to do these more often. I love this. Ian, one more time, tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, whitelotusoflight.com if you're interested in readings or to get Vedic astrology. I'm not going to be doing that much longer except for people who are like the higher end clients who want to go deeper on it, right?
Where's a book I can get? Like, I bought a book on Vedic astrology, and the first page I was like, am I reading Chinese right now? What's a great simple?
It's deep and hard to learn. Let's see. Not Light on Life. 1,000 Suns, I think it's called. And I'm trying to think of what her name is.
And that's a great.
It's a great suit. It's like probably the best intro to Vedic astrology. I think it's called 1,000 Suns or maybe 10,000 Suns. It's by a woman. I'm blanking on the name. I'm so deep at this point, like in Nakshatras and Lunar Mansion.
1,000 Splendid Suns?
No, it's like 1,000 Suns. I think it's called. Oh, God, I can't remember her name, but it's a female. If you type in 1,000 Suns Vedic astrology, it's a female author. I don't know. Help me out here, XG or Johnny or someone. Anyways, we'll get back to that. So, yeah, I'm doing that for a very limited time.
Found it.
I found it.
Yeah,
This
there
one,
it
right?
is.
Designing your future. Is
Yeah,
that it?
that's it.
Linda
That's
Johnson.
it. Linda Johnson. That's what I'd recommend for intro stuff, right? The other thing is I'm actually looking at a way to expand my Angelic Magic class because, look, we were talking about the Second Amendment, right? They want to disarm you. What if I told you that the Malachians' greatest move was tricking all the religious people into saying, hey, you don't want to do astrology like the three wise men that literally saved Yeshua's life, right? You don't want to do magic.
I'm into it, bro.
You don't want to do magic, right? Never mind that it's angelic magic.
I just bought it.
Right? You don't want to do that. You should just be a dead materialist. Don't believe in it. And meanwhile, storm clouds are over the, Mother of Darkness thing in Belgium, right?
Mother of Darkness, bro.
Right?
You brought that
chateau.
up? Damn.
Yeah, well, I'm keeping it real. So, arm yourself. And one of the ways you can arm yourself is by learning theurgic angelic magic. You have to be careful with it. There's a lot of rules. There's karmic implications. You never want to subvert someone else's free will. I spend a ton of time on ethics of magic and how to use magic in a safe way that's not going to screw you over. And so I'm going to have an angelic magic class coming up. I think in May, it's going to open up probably around the time this drops, it'll be up. For people who feel the call for that, that's something that I keep pretty affordable and will into the future because the angels really want that to spread. I'm trying to get in a position to where I can work with people at a high level, specifically to I'm going to use my buddy / client, Nick, as an example again, I'm trying to help guide him. He was already a very principled, wonderful man, but I'm trying to help guide him to navigate how he can use his position of power to make this world a better place. Because that's what it's all about. We're trying to make this world a better place. And so with angelic magic, what it does is it's an invocation. Instead of evocation, changing the outer world, you're changing your inner world to match natural law, the vibration of natural law more closely, so that way you move in kind of a flow state more often, and it just helps you to already bring out your best. And what you'll do over time, the deeper you go to the higher levels, is you start working on your own bullshit, right? That's what I had to do. I worked my way up through all 9 choirs. I work with the seraphim now, right? But I go up through the choirs as I do the ritual twice a week, for a couple hours a day. And I had to do like 44 day straight rituals for like 3 to 4 hours a day on some of the choirs to get past them. And they test your character relentlessly, right? Because they want you to improve your character and raise your vibration.
Oh, amen.
And the more of us who do this, the better we're going to do at transforming the planet by transforming our own vibration, and then it changes what's around us to make this world a more beautiful, harmonious place where we work together, where we get into that vibration of love thy neighbor as thyself.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to do my hardest.
You're amazing, Sam. You're an absolute fucking gangster. You're a spiritual gangster, my brother.
Johnny, you're out, you're in, dude. You just got to learn to run the board.
I think he's got better things to do than to run your board.
Ian, always a pleasure. I think you're one of my favorite people to talk to. You're taking a shot at the Mount Crushmore. Yeah, you're in it. You're in it, buddy. You never let me down. Again, Christian man believing in that there's just energy manipulation, which is mysticism out there. I just have to go with my what my soul tells me, and that's just the truth. Yeah. So everything I do is through my soul, and I really enjoy this conversation. So thank you for that. And let's get into a quick discussion on this episode. Damn, dude, we're in it. We're in it, dude. Just when we thought the Arterburn episode was chaos,
I know what you were doing.
now we went even deeper. We went even deeper.
Got his flashcards up.
Shut up, Johnny. Ian Ferguson was in the house dropping Hammer of the Gods. I enjoyed the conversation.
Yes.
I thought it was a great conversation. Your guys' thoughts?
Dude, Shadow Wars. They're back.
Shadow Wars, bro.
I can see why people work with him, because it would be really helpful to have him kind of interpreting everything on a daily basis for you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's going on in the news. Like, I would just find myself wanting to ask his opinion of everything that's happening, on a daily basis.
I love it, dude. I find it very interesting. The astrology, I just love it. And I'm very sensitive to our Christian listeners. So I always want to respect them and I respect anybody, all of them. Islam, is there anyone from Islam that listens to this show? We'd love to know if you listen. Your thoughts. Shout out to the Jews that listen. I hope you're still with us. Love you guys. I'm always conscious of everybody's religious beliefs. So, but I it's hard for me to get out of that there's mysticism exists. That's my truth.
What I liked about him, that he said it's good magic, because there is bad magic. They're like, we've had like people that come on. We don't smoke the same, and they're like santeros, like santeria, that religion. Yeah. And they claim there's good magic and bad magic, and you can do bad, do good. So at least he's doing the good magic.
What kind of people are you having on your show? Are they doing the bad stuff?
Yeah, what are you doing?
She claims to do good magic, but what she considers bad magic is like she claims that she's gotten people that come to her and be like, can you make so-and-so fall in love with me? And they'll come with like a piece of hair.
And she does that?
She doesn't. She said that's evil magic. That's not like you're literally like you're going against people's will. So she mentioned that, and I'm just one of those things. I was like, well, at least there's good magic, bad magic, I guess, in that world.
I think you manipulate energy. I think we're battling sorcery. We talk about it all the time, and this show just lets me know this is what's up, bro. It's what's up. We're battling these sorcerers. They're out here trying to lower our vibrations and jack our loosh, dude.
If there's one thing I don't want, it's my loose jacked.
Dude, they don't
jack
even
me any other way, but not my loose, bro.
Johnny wants delicate hands jacking him, but not his loosh. I got it, dude.
Right.
I love that, dude. It's all deep shit. Intelligence, being into mysticism, all the magic, all that stuff. And just like the deep, way back history of this stuff. It's interesting you wouldn't talk about the families. Did that make you nervous?
A little bit.
You went right in for it, though.
Yeah. Can't kill what's already dead. What are you going to do? I'm dead.
Right?
Yeah, but we're guilty by association now. I want to stay alive.
I've always said that. if we ever get Epstein, it ties back to fucking Sam.
Yeah, he made me do it.
The other day I was on my phone, on the phone, and for some reason, like my phone merged with someone, and I heard a girl. Exactly. I don't know what happened. I'm on the phone call.
What?
I'm on the phone with Will, and for some reason, a phone call merges with someone else, and we both heard a female say what? And he claims there wasn't a female around him, there wasn't a female around me. And he's like, yo, the FBI, they're listening to your phone. And
That was a ghost, dude. You heard a ghost.
Could have been a ghost, could have been anything, but we both heard a female. And I'm like, yo, they're fucking... What, go for it.
Let me tell you something. That happened to Maz Jabrani when he was on we were in La Jolla. This was right after 9/11. And he made a call and he couldn't hear the call. And there was no sound there. And then it was dead, and he was like, hello? Hello? And someone goes, hello? And he goes, who is this? And they hung up.
Something, yeah. It was something like that. We both heard a female.
Listen to it. Well, then the CIA knows I like to be called weird words.
Dude, it used to be so easy to do that, though. Do you remember when they had cordless phones, like the early cordless phones, and you could just take your radio and like tune to the 80s? And you could just hear what your neighbor was.
What?
Yeah, dude. You used to do that all the
Did
time.
you ever do that? I didn't know that.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you could take your little wireless radio and hear what your neighbor was talking about on the phone. And I mean, we did that as kids,
John.
you know, but not moral, probably.
I can't believe that's crazy to me. Yeah. That's crazy talk. Yeah, I mean, like, it's gonna be interesting how people react to Luciferians versus Molochans, because I believe there are degrees of darkness, that not everybody is as bad as the other ones. Maybe I'm wrong.
Like Hitler now, you think is maybe not as bad as the
No, never said that, Johnny. I know you really want to believe that, but I am 100%
not a fan of Hitler.
Not a fan of Hitler. Good. I've said this before. Why didn't he go into Switzerland if he's battling the banks?
What did Kanye West though? He didn't invent the microphone, or what did Kanye say? He's like, he invented this, and you're like, okay. I forgot what it was, but
yeah,
the rabbit hole.
I'm down with it, dude. I love it. I thought that was that's my jam, dude.
I'm into that too. Yeah, definitely.
Like, we can talk politics all day, or can we talk like black magic, dark arts?
Yeah, anything that makes my brain tingle like that. Like
dude, my nipples were rock hard that whole time.
Do you think? I mean, we've talked about it, and it's probably true, but I just want to bring it up. Obviously, that horoscope astrology shit, they do that to make it look stupid, right? Like when they put that in the newspaper, it's to make, oh, look how dumb horoscopes are, and don't look at the stars. It's nothing important. I just have a feeling like it's like to, like what you say, make you feel dumb.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's crazy. Anything else, guys? I thought it was a great episode. I thought it was great, going deep, right?
Mount Rushmore?
He's making, I would say he's making I can't decide that. The listeners decide that.
True, yeah.
But is he in the argument?
For a Crushmore? Yeah, for sure.
He's in the argument. He's fighting for it. He's out there hanging and banging.
Especially the way he came dressed.
Oh, dude. Yeah. I'm like, dude, we're in pajamas. You're dressed up. What are we doing here? Dude, that was fire. All right, guys. I thought it was great. Please enjoy these highlights.
Here's a clip from the latest Broken Sim.
Dude, this is so Hollywood right here. This is Hollywood to a T. Did you see this lawsuit that Martin Scorsese is in? Okay, so I don't know how you get into this arrangement, but these screenwriters had this script about the people who faked. You know how when they were going to do the D-Day landing, they had this fake landing that was meant that just they had like inflatable tanks so the Germans could see it and think that they were going to land somewhere else.
Yeah.
They wanted to do a movie about that. They had a script and everything. and they agreed to pay Martin Scorsese $500,000, and they paid him $500,000 to get it, to get it into production. And Martin Scorsese did nothing. He didn't do shit like for years. And so they sued him, and he settled with them. And of course, Scorsese's defense is, hey, this happens all the time in Hollywood. It takes years and years. And they were like, it took 17 years for Martin Scorsese to make, whatever. Like, I think it was the last one, Killers of the Flower Moon. And basically saying these guys don't know how Hollywood works. But apparently he didn't do shit, dude. Like, he just took their money and did nothing. And in fact, he countersued them. They were supposed to pay another $1 million when things got farther advanced, like 2 years later, I guess. And he's suing them for the other $500,000. They settled. But isn't that crazy? Like,
dude, that reminds me of the time me and my buddy who I went to college with, my old roommate, Chris, we were trying to get into this club back in the day, back when I was young and cool. And I'm like, dude, let's get some money. Let's bribe this bouncer. And he's like, okay. So we hand him the money.
Yeah.
And he just walks up to him. He goes, hey, man, what's the chances us getting in? And then hands him the money. And the bouncer goes, not good. And took the money.
I'm trying to swallow water. You didn't get in?
No, and we lost the money. Johnny, did I ever tell you
you paid him for the information, I guess.
Did I ever tell you the time
That's so funny.
when I was doing drugs that it was high?
You did. Oh, okay. Sorry.
That I was so high on crack. Not crack, excuse me, coke. I only smoked crack once. I'll be honest with you. I smoked crack one time in my life, and I it's a very well-known story.
Yeah, we all know.
Okay. But I was doing coke all night, watching porn.
Yeah.
And I get a call from Paul Hughes. He's like, "Hey man, are you on your way?" I go, "What?" He goes, "We got that charity event today." I go, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, we're doing the LAPD Keep Kids Off Drugs campaign."
Oh no.
And I was like, "What?" And I'm like, "Oh, should I go do it?" And I go, "But if I don't go do it, I won't get that card where I could just hand it to cops. It's like diplomatic immunity,
yeah.
which totally works."
Really?
Oh yeah, that works. Cool, it's like,
did
what?
You do it?
I did it. Coked out of my mind.
What was that like?
And it was crazy because the show starts where like a guy's trying to give a speech, but he makes mistakes on like, and I want to give it up to my other Mexican officers here. He's like, "I'm Puerto Rican." Oh, my apologies. I would like to recognize the Puerto Rican contingent of the LAPD. I'm like, "Oh, dude, I am fucked, bro."
Oh, how'd it go?
I did okay.
Yeah, I bet you did.
And then I got off and we were taking a picture. And then I saw one of the cops just squint at me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh, fuck, he knows I'm high." And I just ran off. I just ran off, bro.
Walk out of there,
I was like, "I'm out of here, bro. Thank you."
That,
I go, he gave me he's like, "If you guys are in trouble, use the card." Bang, God. And I ran off, dude. I'm like, "Oh, bang, here you go. I'm high right now. I got to go." Bang. And I just run off.
That's so cool. They have a card they give you, though.
You never had that, dude?
Well, I've heard that like you can donate, but then there's this documentary on HBO about the Police Benevolent Society, how that was just like a scam. And they had these call centers where they were just pocketing all the money.
That is the best doc ever.
It's great. Dude.
It's so insane.
That was the craziest scene going on behind the scenes there.
Like that,
they're all on drugs.
That moment was so big in that guy's life, right? And the senator who just looks like a power bottom lizard scumbag has to sit down with this junkie guy who's like trying to be like, we gotta make sure people don't lose their mind. Okay, we'll look into it. And nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But that was a great doc. That was really a great doc. Like, dude, I would love to have worked there.
Oh, it's funny. When I watched it, I was like, dude, Sam would love this scene.
I would love to have worked there. Just get weird.
It reminded me of that. What was that movie? Boiler Room. You know, remember that? It was just like Boiler Room.
Just scumbags.
Yeah, just scumbags making huge rips of money and spending it all on drugs, just right up their noses. This guy Simon Afram wrote Operation Fortitude, and then he solicited Scorsese to be the executive producer on the project, and Scorsese just pocketed the money and never talked to him again.
That's so crazy to me.
Think about that.
That's so crazy to me.
So this video has surfaced. This is something we've talked about a lot We didn't really. It kind of fell in the cracks, so, and I don't think it's kind of old now.
I know
for
that
TFH
he
Live,
did not commit suicide. There's no way.
This is the Boeing whistleblower.
First tonight, our investigative reporter Ann Emerson has new information in the death of Boeing whistleblower John Barnett.
It's crazy.
A close family friend of Barnett says he predicted he might wind up dead, that a story could surface that he killed himself. But he told her, don't believe it. Ann?
Tessa, Barnett's family
Ann
friend
has been
Jennifer
on the
said they
scene
had
a
talked
long
about
time.
this exact
Ann's putting her
scenario
some
playing
time.
out. But his words seemed
She's
like
had
a
enough.
premonition. He told her, don't ever believe it.
I knew John because his mom and my mom are best friends. And so over the years, get-togethers, birthdays, celebrations, and, whatnot, we've all got together and talked and,
First of all, is this really the technology that they have at the news station?
Dude,
she just
how
holds-
hilarious is this? Like, okay, we're just gonna put this weird. What if
It's like when one of your family members calls and you just hold the mic
Dude,
up. I mean, that's what they
is
do.
what if it though? Wouldn't it be hilarious if like she just now learned that they have a camera above her above her desk?
Listen,
she's
if you're listening at home, we're watching the video, and she's got an iPhone with the call on speaker, and then she's got another iPhone with the voice notes out, recording the call onto that, not realizing there are apps for that, or I don't know, microphones you could use.
that's how we really know each other.
And when Jennifer needed help one day, Barnett came by to see her. They talked about his upcoming depositions in Charleston. Jennifer knew he filed an extremely damaging complaint against Boeing. He says the aerospace giant retaliated against him when he blew the whistle on unsafe practices. For more than 30 years, Barnett was a quality manager. He'd recently retired and moved back to look after his mom in Louisiana.
He wasn't concerned about safety because I asked him, I said, aren't you scared? And he said, and his voice and the way he would talk, no, I ain't scared. He said, but if anything happens to me, it's not suicide.
Damn, bro.
I know that he did not commit suicide. There's no way. He loved life too much. He loved his family too much. He loved his brothers too much.
We've seen this too much, dude. We've seen this too many
But
times.
yeah, it's so obvious.
Too many.
I
It's
mean, that
almost like
goes
they
down
want-
to like American Conspiracy. Is that what's on Netflix? That one show about the guy who was trying to look into. Oh, it's the octopus murders.
We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind. Tinfoil hack.